The sun shines into the tree-lined avenue of the university campus. Ye Chen is carrying a worn schoolbag and staggering a little. He had just been dragged in by an energetic girl in front of the club's recruitment booth, and now his head was still buzzing. "Hey, newcomer. The comic club welcomes you." The girl's voice exploded in her ears like a bomb. The club activity room is hidden in the corner of the teaching building. The door is covered with yellowed posters, and the air is filled with the smell of old paper and the faint scent of ink. When I opened the door, a sweltering heat hit my face. There were only 3 people inside. Bai Ning, the president, with her ponytail swung like a whip, stared at him with bright eyes. "Ye Chen, right? Great. Our club is short of manpower. The National College Comic Competition will start next month, and we will disband if there are no works. All the members have left, and there are only 3 of us left." Ye Chen froze on the spot, thinking, I was just passing by to watch the fun, why did I sign the joining form? President, I'm terrible at drawing. When I was little, the apples I drew looked like potatoes. Bai Ning laughed loudly and slapped him on the shoulder painfully. "It's okay. Everyone is equal, starting from scratch. Come and meet our ace, Shen Qingqing." She pointed at a girl in the corner. The girl was wearing headphones and buried in front of the easel, the pencil in her hand flying like a storm. Shen Qingqing raised his head, with a cold face like an ice sculpture, long hair shawl, and dark eyes swept across Ye Chen, as if he was examining a piece of garbage. "Newcomer. I hope you won't be held back." Her voice was as cold as the winter wind, with a hint of disdain. Ye Chen smiled awkwardly and complained in his heart, why does this club have such a doomsday atmosphere? Old trophies were hung on the walls, which were dusty, and scraps of drawings were scattered on the floor, as if they had been swept by a typhoon. Bai Ning gestured excitedly. "Qingqing's painting skills are among the best in the country. The storyboard she drew alone last year made the judges' eyes widen. But we lack scripts, funds, everything. The theme of the competition is school fantasy, and we have to quickly publish the participating comics. Ye Chen, can you be the assistant screenwriter, okay?" "Me? Screenwriter?" Ye Chen almost spit out, "President, I can't even read novels, how can I edit them?" Shen Qingqing finally put down the pencil and pushed away the earphones. Her voice was full of ridicule. "That's what newcomers do. They think they are interesting and just come to join in the fun. President, we can't even draw the introductory comic well, so why are we talking about a competition? I drew 3 pages of yesterday's manuscript, and it's still terrible." She threw out a stack of drawing paper. The lines were messy and the proportions of the characters were distorted, like ghost drawings. Bai Ning blushed and murmured, "Yeah, the inspiration is stuck, the funds are gone, and printing is a problem." The air solidified instantly, and Ye Chen felt like he had stepped into a minefield. The crisis of the society is like an invisible net, which makes people breathless. He lowered his head and scanned the room, and his eyes fell on a pile of debris, old paintbrushes, broken rulers, and an ancient pocket watch. The clock face was engraved with strange patterns, and the hand stopped at 12 o'clock at midnight. Out of curiosity, he picked it up and felt the cold metal on his fingertips. "What is this? The club's mascot?" Bai Ning shook her head. "I don't know, it's an old thing. It's been around since the founding of the company. Ye Chen, try it on, maybe you'll get some inspiration." She smiled heartlessly. Ye Chen hung it casually around his neck, heavy as a curse. The afternoon creative session was a disaster. Bai Ning scrawled the outline of Campus Fantasy on the blackboard. The protagonist travels across campus and encounters strange things. Ye Chen tried to make a suggestion. How about adding a time loop? It's super exciting to do it again every day. Shen Qingqing sneered, "Loop? It sounds like a bad novel. You can only see how stupid it is when you draw it." She grabbed the pen and drew a few strokes. The finished product was a deformed monster. With Ye Chen's dialogue, it read like a joke. Ha ha ha, what the hell is this? Bai Ning laughed, but there were tears in her eyes. We're done. We have to have a finished product before the registration deadline for the competition. Shen Qingqing flicked the pen, and ink splashed on the table, with black spots like blood. No matter how good my painting is, I can't save a bad story. Newcomer, get out of here, don't waste your time. Her voice trembled, not in anger, but in despair. Ye Chen's heart sank. Is this club really going to break up? As the sun sets, the activity room is empty. Ye Chen was left alone, staring at the pocket watch. The inner monologue is like a flood. Why am I here? Painting and cooking, my brain is rotten. Joining a dying club, my brain is flooded. But looking at Bai Ning's unyielding eyes and Shen Qingqing's hidden fatigue, he was a little reluctant to give up. I tried to draw an introductory comic, A Club of Four Saves the Campus. The protagonist appears handsomely on the first page, but the result was a pig's head. The smell of ink was pungent, so he crumpled it into a ball and threw it into the trash can. As night falls, the community gathers for dinner in the campus restaurant. Bai Ning ordered a table full of barbecue. The smoke was lingering and the heat was blowing on his face. Cheers! In order not to disband. But the atmosphere was solemn. Shen Qingqing poked the chicken wings and said coldly, President, be realistic. Our rival Gu Wan's literary club crushed us last time. She is talented in screenwriting, and I heard that she has a lot of inspiration. We can't even draw an introduction. Bai Ning bit her lip and her eyes turned red. I will find a way. An argument broke out. Ye Chen couldn't help but, so what about Gu Wan? Let's try again. Shen Qingqing glared at him and said in a sharp voice, do it again. Can time go back? What do you know, a rookie? Bai Ning slapped the table and her chopsticks flew away. That's enough. Ye Chen, you can draw a profile tomorrow to prove yourself. Ye Chen nodded, feeling guilty. Tomorrow? Draw ghost symbols. At midnight, the dormitory bells sounded long. Ye Chen was lying on the bed, his pocket watch was hot, like a heartbeat. He heard a tick sound in his confusion, and the world was spinning. Darkness swallows everything. Ah! Ye Chen jumped up from the bed. The sun was dazzling, and the alarm clock showed 7 o'clock in the morning. Yesterday morning. He rushed to the mirror. The pocket watch was still hanging, and the needle stopped at 12 o'clock. Dream? No. With my heart beating like a drum, I rushed out of the dormitory. The campus boulevard was exactly the same, and Bai Ning's recruitment booth was still there. He rushed to the activity room and pushed open the door. Bai Ning turned her head and raised her ponytail. Ye Chen, newcomer. Welcome to join the comic club. Exactly. Shen Qingqing was drawing in the corner and glanced at him coldly. I hope you won't be held back. Ye Chen's head was buzzing. Reset. Time loop. He pinched himself, his thighs burning. Not a dream. I roared in my heart, this pocket watch, a loop clock. Reset to morning every day. Unlimited attempts. He tentatively asked Bai Ning, President, the club is in crisis, members are lost, and the competition is going to be disbanded? Bai Ning's eyes widened. How do you know? We just met. Shen Qingqing stopped with his pencil and frowned slightly. Newcomer, have you investigated? Ye Chen's heart was beating wildly. He rushed out the door and tested on the campus playground. He deliberately kicked over the water dispenser on the roadside, causing water to splash, and passers-by screamed, Hey, be careful. He remembered the location, ran back to the dormitory, and forced himself to sleep. Midnight, tick, reset again. In the morning, the playground water fountain was intact. He laughed, his voice trembling, it's true. Infinite resets. But joy is followed by fear, curse. Repeat this day forever. There seemed to be an invisible pendulum sound in the air, and a faint metallic smell emanated from the pocket watch. In the activity room, Bai Ning gave a passionate introduction and Shen Qingqing sneered, just like yesterday. Ye Chen took a deep breath, and this time he shut up and observed. Bai Ning's ponytail shines in the sun, but cannot hide the dark circles under her eyes. Shen Qingqing's fingers turn white from holding the pen for too long, and the lines of the manuscript on the easel are perfect but soulless. The smell of ink in the society is stronger, like the smell of despair. He picked up the pocket watch and asked deliberately, "What's the secret of this clock?" Bai Ning blinked. "Old things, it is said that wearing them can regain inspiration." "Huh, just kidding." Shen Qingqing glanced at it, her voice trembling slightly. "Don't touch it, it feels weird." Her pupils dilated slightly, as if she noticed something strange. Ye Chen's heart was filled with confusion, opportunity. Infinite trial and error to save the community. But how to start? If the creation fails, it will be reset, don't be afraid. He decided to test the limits first. In the afternoon meeting, he boldly mentioned the time loop theme, and Bai Ning's eyes lit up. Genius. Shen Qingqing snorted coldly, "Draw it out and say it." He drew a few strokes, but it was still bad. But during the argument at night, he deliberately provoked, "You can't do it, I will do it." Shen Qingqing blushed in anger, "Get out. Reset." After 5 cycles, he tried countless scripts, campus ghosts, superpower showdowns, and was ridiculed every time for his poor painting skills. Bai Ning's laughter became increasingly bitter, and Shen Qingqing's eyes changed from disdain to pity. "Newcomer, you are so persistent, but it's useless." Her voice softened for the first time, and the hand holding the pen shook slightly. After resetting for the 10th time, Ye Chen felt a ding in his head. A golden panel appears in the field of vision. Loop clock system activated. Task 1, complete the club profile comic, campus fantasy style, more than 3 pages. Reward, painting basics +10, inspiration points +5. Infinite reset opportunities, automatic retracement at midnight. There is no penalty for failure, try again. Ye Chen's eyes widened and his hair stood on end. The panel was like a phantom, accompanied by the clicking sound of the pendulum. Only he could see it. "This isn't a curse, it's a golden finger." I roared in my heart, "God, I want to change my destiny. Save the Comics Club, starting from this introduction." He rushed into the activity room, and Bai Ning exclaimed, "Ye Chen, why are you here again? Wait, your face looks so weird." Shen Qingqing put down the pen, and something strange flashed in her eyes. "Newcomer, have you changed?" Her voice was trembling, and the fragrance of ink in the air was stronger, as if she had a premonition of an approaching storm. Ye Chen held his pocket watch tightly and raised the corners of his mouth. "This time, I will draw it for you." Ye Chen took a deep breath. The air in the activity room was mixed with the pungent aroma of new ink and the musty smell of old paper. The sunlight slanted in through the dirty windows, lengthening the shadows on the table. He stared at Bai Ning's round eyes and Shen Qingqing's slightly trembling pen tip, and roared in his heart, "This is the 10th time, this time it will definitely explode." Drawing? "Okay, President, Sister Qingqing, take a look." He grabbed the pencil on the table, but his palms were wet, and beads of sweat slid down his fingers. Ye Chen gritted his teeth, and the tragic scenes of the first 9 times appeared in his mind. The first stroke turned into a dog crawling, the character's head was as big as a watermelon, and Bai Ning laughed. The second stroke of ink blurred, the monster turned into a pig's head, and Shen Qingqing simply threw away the pen and walked away. The atmosphere of the club fell into an ice cave every time. When he reset, he listened to the ticking sound of midnight and felt like a knife. Inner monologue, depressed. Press it lower and it will feel better when it bounces. He drew the first page. On the campus boulevard, the protagonist staggered forward with his school bag on his back, and there were ghosts and shadows in the background. The lines are okay, but the proportions are a mess, and the main character's legs are as short as tree stumps. Bai Ning flicked her ponytail and slapped the table excitedly. The wood banged and the drawings flew everywhere. come on, come on. It's time for newcomers to prove it. Draw a campus fantasy introduction, starting from 3 pages, the protagonist must be handsome. Her voice was like a summer soda, bubbling, but she couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes, and the fatigue lingered like a shadow. Shen Qingqing leaned on the back of the chair, her long legs crossed, and her cold eyes swept over Ye Chen, like a knife across the paper. Newcomer, don't waste my paint. If the painting is ruined, get out. Her fingers tapped the easel, the rhythm was like a heartbeat, and there seemed to be a hint of chill in the air. Ye Chen's heart beat like a drum, and the pendulum clicked in his ears. He speeds up the drawing of the second page, the protagonist picks up the pocket watch and resets it. The ghost pounces on him and complains about the dialogue, this campus is too cheating. Let's start over again. But the third page collapsed, the ghost was drawn into a pie, and the ink was smeared into a black cloud. Bai Ning scratched her head and laughed awkwardly, It's a bit cute. But the competition jury will vomit blood. Shen Qingqing finally couldn't help it, snorted coldly, tossed up her long hair, and the fragrance of ink hit her nostrils. Nonsense. The lines are messy, and the story is as plain as water. President, this newcomer is just here to make up for the loss. There are only 3 people left in our club, and even the 4th brother quit the club yesterday. He will definitely leave if he comes to pick up his things this afternoon. Her voice was sharp, trembling with despair, and her eyes were slightly red. Bai Ning came over, the hot breath hit her face, mixed with the faint fragrance of milk. Oh, why does this protagonist look like a dwarf? But the idea is good, time loop campus ghost. She laughed so hard, her shoulders shook, but she suddenly froze and narrowed her eyes. Wait, you just said, Sister Qingqing. Are we familiar? Shen Qingqing raised her eyebrows, slid her earphones off her shoulders, and said in a low voice like the winter night wind, Newcomer, your eyes are strange. Continue painting, don't stop. Her pupils dilated slightly, the fingers holding the pen turned white, and her nails dug into her palms, as if she noticed some incredible change. Footsteps sounded outside the door, and a tall and thin boy pushed in, carrying a painting box with a livid face. President, I quit the club. There is no chance of the competition. Gu Wan's literary club laughed at us as garbage dumps, and my family even urged us to change our major. The air solidified instantly, the wooden door creaked, and the sunlight stretched his shadow like a tombstone. Bai Ning's face turned pale, and her ponytail hung down weakly. Xiao Li. Stop, let's keep working hard. The boy shook his head, and the box hit the ground with a thud, and the paintbrushes inside rolled down, making a jingling sound. Ye Chen's heart was churning. Crisis. But this is the 10th time, and this time I have a system. The panel emerged, with dazzling golden light. Tick-tock, the world spins and darkness engulfs it. At 7 o'clock in the morning, Ye Chen jumped up, his pocket watch cold against his chest. He rushed to the activity room, this time without any nonsense, and went straight to the easel. Observation mode activated. Bai Ning scrawled an outline on the blackboard, her ponytail flying like flames, and passionately delivered a speech. We want a fantasy explosion. The sound echoed in the room, but it could not cover up the dust scattered on the floor and the empty chairs. Shen Qingqing is immersed in drawing the voluptuous female ghost. The pencil is like lightning and the lines are as smooth as silk. Every stroke is breathtakingly perfect, but his fingers are slightly red and swollen from holding the pen continuously. She raised her head, her cold face like an ice sculpture. Good morning, newlyweds. But her eyes were full of doubts, and the memories of the previous cycle were like phantoms. Task progress, Club Introduction Comic 1/3 page, reset after failure, number of exercises, 9. He deliberately smashed the painting to irritate himself. Damn it, it sucks. The pen broke and sawdust flew. Bai Ning sighed, and Xiao Li turned around and left. Shen Qingqing lowered his head, covering his face with his long hair. Let's go. Despair was like a tide, making Ye Chen breathless. Inner roar, enough. Midnight reset. Ye Chen nodded and analyzed in his heart. Bai Ning Yuanqi is the leader and pulls people, Shen Qingqing is an invincible genius in painting, but the script is as bad as shit. The hot spot is right here. He grabbed a pen and practiced simple storyboards. In the first frame, the protagonist complained about the campus ghost, in the second frame, he reset and flipped the table, and in the third frame, the four-person club counterattacked. After resetting 20 times, he repeatedly wiped off the sweat, listened to the rustle of the pencil rubbing against the paper, smelled the bitterness of the ink, and the lines changed from crooked to steady. For the 30th time, the panel dinged. This is the 50th reset. In the morning activity room, Bai Ning introduced enthusiastically, and Shaoli has not retreated yet. Ye Chen rushed in and said, "President, Sister Qingqing, read my profile." He drew 3 pages. On the first page, the sun was dazzling on the campus boulevard, and the protagonist was carrying a school bag and a ghost rushed towards him, complaining, "This campus fantasy. Good morning bite." On the second page, the reset moment the pocket watch flashes golden light, and the protagonist rolls his eyes, again. "I reset infinitely, Grandpa Ghost, come back." On the third page, the threesome of the club appear. Bai Ning ponytail whips the ghost, Shen Qingqing blows the ghost's head with a cold stroke, and the dialogue is, "Comic Club, the rebellion against fate begins." Mission completed. Introduction to the 3-page comic, campus fantasy and comedy style. The protagonist Ye Chen resets the school ghosts like a ghost, and the funny dialogues are perfect. Reward distribution, basic drawing +10, the lines are stable, the hand feels like an arm and fingers, inspiration points +5, basic script inspiration LV1 is unlocked, popular memes automatically emerge. A warm current rushes into my mind, my vision is as clear as an upgraded lens, and my fingers are as nimble as a dancer. Ye Chen laughed, his voice trembling, "Here it comes." Unforgettable moment. After finishing the painting, Ye Chen flicked the pen and the ink dots flew like fireworks. Bai Ning came up to her, her eyes widened like copper bells, her mouth opened wide into an O shape, and she breathed hot breath on the paper. This. The protagonist is so ridiculous. The ghost is so ugly and cute, and the reset theme is perfect for the school. Ha ha ha, I burst out laughing. She slapped the table and laughed, her ponytail swung wildly, her shoulders shook like an earthquake, and she burst into tears. The dark circles under her eyes seemed to have faded a little, and her energy was like a volcano erupting. Shen Qingqing's pencil fell to the ground and rolled to Ye Chen's feet. She stood up slowly, her long hair trembling slightly, her cold face cracked with shock, her pupils dilated like black holes, and her voice was trembling. "Newcomer, this storyboard. Dialogue? The last few times you drew pig heads, this time, where did the inspiration come from?" She touched the paper lightly with her fingers, her fingertips trembled slightly, as if she was being electrocuted, and the fragrance of ink mixed with the refreshing fragrance of flowers on her body. Her arrogant mask shattered, and the flames of admiration flashed in her eyes. "The lines are stable, the potential for meme to become a hit, you have hidden it deep enough." Shaoli pushed open the door and was about to quit the club when he caught a glimpse of the drawings, and his thin face instantly twisted. "Wow! This introduction is awesome. The ghost's expression can't be compared to that of my cat. President, I'm not leaving, I'll be the assistant painter for this story." He picked up the dropped paintbrush, his eyes sparkling, and the box was put down with a bang. The activity room instantly became lively, laughter echoed, and the dust seemed to be washed away by the sun. The atmosphere in the club relaxed. Bai Ning jumped up and hugged Ye Chen. The soft body bumped into her, and the fragrance of milk filled her nostrils. "Ye Chen, you are amazing. The crisis has been resolved. To celebrate, I heard that there is a hot spring travel subsidy outside the school. Let's go to the hot spring to inspire inspiration. President, I will take the lead. I am full of energy." She gestured for a bath, flicking her ponytail and sweating, her face flushed and bulging with blood. Ye Chen complained in his heart, hot spring. Welfare is coming. But the surface was calm. President, don't overdo it with your blood, don't soak it into boiled shrimp. Shen Qingqing hummed, the corners of her mouth were slightly raised, and her arrogance could not hide her interest. Hot spring. Okay, but newcomers, your script must continue. The plot just now was good. Her eyes were glued to the pocket watch on Ye Chen's neck, the metallic luster reflected her eyes, and she frowned slightly, as if she smelled a hidden secret. In the afternoon, there was a noise outside the door. A group of people broke in. The leader, Gu Wan, had long curly hair and a sinister smile on her lips. The smell of high-end perfume floated in the air. Hey, President Bai Ning, your garbage club is still going on. Register for the national competition, our literary and art club has locked 5 places, you can't even touch the qualifications. She threw out a stack of leaflets, the paper rustled, and there was glittering competition information on it, campus fantasy theme, finals next month, resources are allocated to strengthen the club. Her followers snickered, looking like a wolf staring at a sheep. Bai Ning was filled with anger and her ponytail was raised. Gu Wan. Are you competing for qualifications? A dream. Gu Wan glanced at Ye Chen, her eyes flashing, newcomer. My painting skills are unheard of. I know all the information about the competition. You need to upload a brief introduction in the first round, so get out. She turned and left, her high heels clicking, leaving a lingering sound of ridicule. Shen Qingqing clenched her fists, her nails dug into her palms, and her voice trembled. Gu Wan, she has a talent for screenwriting and a spring of inspiration. Even if our introduction is good, it can't compare. Bai Ning bit her lip and became jealous. Shaoli murmured, it's over, your qualifications have been robbed. The door of the activity room slammed shut, and the tapping sound of Gu Wan's high heels still echoed on the floor, like a mocking drumbeat. Brochures were scattered on the ground, and the dazzling golden font, National College Comic Contest Campus Fantasy Group, came into view. The smell of high-end perfume mixed with the bitterness of ink in the air made people's noses clog. Bai Ning's ponytail hung down weakly, her fist hit the table, the wood clicked, and the drawing dusted off. Damn Gu Wan. She has a monopoly on the literary club, and we can't even get through the registration channel. Where are the funds? Where are the members? It's all over. Her voice turned from passionate to choked, her eyes were red and swollen, and her dark circles were like ink, and the flame of the energetic girl was extinguished instantly. Ye Chen clenched his pocket watch and roared in his heart, Provocation. Good. Gu Wan, just wait and see. A sign of a new mission appeared on the system panel, with dazzling golden light. Mission 2, first draft of the hit script, defeat Gu Wan. The corners of his mouth curled up, and the pendulum clicked like a war drum. This cycle has just begun. The fragrance of ink was strong in the air, mixed with the tension of the prelude to the storm, and the lights of the club lengthened the shadows of everyone, indicating that a bigger storm was coming. Shen Qingqing's pencil broke, and sawdust flew onto Ye Chen's face. Her long hair covered half of her face, and her cold eyes shone with despair. President, wake up. No matter how great our introduction is, we can't get on the platform. Gu Wan's screenwriting talent is like a flood of inspiration. No matter how good I am at drawing, I can't save a rubbish script. Her fingers trembled, her nails dug into her palms, blood oozed out, and there was a trace of rust in the air. Shaoli huddled in the corner, his face turned pale, and the paintbrush he had just picked up clattered to the ground. I'd better leave. President, I'm sorry, this club can't survive the national competition. He grabbed the box, his steps dragging like a death knell, the doorknob creaked, and dust hit his face. Bai Ning was stunned, her ponytail flicked slightly, and she looked up with tears in her eyes. Ye Chen. Do you have a trick? Shen Qingqing frowned, snorted coldly but did not refute, and opened his fingers, blood stains on his palm. Xiao Li's box thudded to the ground, his eyes lit up. Really? Let's try it. The three of them gathered around the table, the lights in the activity room stretched their shadows, Bai Ning wiped her tears, and restarted the hot-blooded mode. Okay. I am the president, I organize. Qingqing is the main painter, Ye Chen script, Xiao Li's assistant storyboards. The first round, the protagonist picks up a clock and encounters a ghost school bell. She grabbed chalk and scribbled on the blackboard, a rustling sound was heard, and her ponytail flew like a whip to suck the air. Ye Chen nodded, and the golden light on the system panel in his mind flashed. Task 2, first draft of the hit script, 10 pages around campus, defeat Gu Wan. Practicing, internal complaint, here we go, unlimited trial and error. For the first edition, he wrote the outline with a brush. The main character Ye Chen was reset in a style. The ghost school beauty arrogantly complained. The first chapter was attacked on the campus boulevard. After the reset, the ghost was whipped with a white ponytail, and the headshot was shot with a clear ice pen. Bai Ning clapped her hands, Gung Shen. But Shen Qingqing drew the first page of the test draft. The lines were as perfect as silk, but the ghost collapsed into a pig. The dialogue in the script is too crude. Ghost sister, spare your life. Who is laughing to death? She flicked the pen, ink splashed on the wall, and the sound was like a slap in the face. Xiao Li scratched his head in embarrassment. Failure. Ye Chen's heart was like a knife, his pocket watch was cold against his chest, and the clicking sound was like a reminder. Inner roar, the 51st time. Gu Wan, you scheming little devil, dare to step on my club. Keep it down. If you lower it any lower, this wave will explode to the sky. He slammed the table with a loud voice that shook the walls. Stop. Who has finished? President, Sister Qingqing, Xiao Li, listen to me. Let's brainstorm, and now we will play the popular loop campus. Campus Ghost plus Infinite Reset. The protagonist is like me, the rookie becomes a god, and the club counterattacks the whole server. His voice was sonorous, beads of sweat splashed, and the fragrance of ink was mixed with the salty smell of hot blood. Inwardly roaring, the 55th time, for real. This time, comedy is added. The protagonist resets the interview and confesses to Bai Ning, but the ghost pounces on him and his ponytail wraps around his face. He wrote it into the script and rehearsed it on the spot. President, I like your passion, let's date you. Bai Ning's face turned red and her ponytail popped up. Ye Chen. What are you doing? You have a brainstorm. But the ghost storyboard was distorted and she fell to the ground laughing. Shoulders shaking. The confession sucks like this? The protagonist looks like my ex-boyfriend, get lost. Shen Qingqing's mouth slightly raised, and she arrogantly covered her smile, childish. Xiao Li sprayed rice, and the activity room roared with laughter, but because of the dialogue, it returned to earth, reset. After screwing up 5 confession scenes in a row, Ye Chen blushed and his heart beat every time he reset it. His collar was soaked with sweat, and he complained in his heart, welfare, this passionate hug is too sweet, but the script comes first. For the 60th time, he had a burst of inspiration. LV1 blessing, the dialogue was upgraded. School beauty ghost, are you blushing after the reset? I will draw you as a comic goddess, will you marry me or not? Shut up, you idiot artist, and draw my ponytail correctly first. Bai Ning read. After she finished, her eyes widened and her mouth formed an O shape. This is the perfect dialogue. The arrogant school beauty is a perfect match for the hot-blooded president. She jumped up and hugged Ye Chen, her limp body bumped into him, the fragrance of milk hit her nostrils, and she breathed hotly, Ye Chen, you are a genius. Keep going. Reset. As midnight ticks, the world spins. At 7 o'clock in the morning, Ye Chen jumps up and rushes to the activity room. 52 times, he optimized the dialogue. Ghost school beauty, you reset the bug, I have endless troubles. Rookie painter, my head is broken. Bai Ning burst into laughter, hot breath hit the paper, progress. Shen Qingqing's eyes flashed, drawing the charming ghost on the second page. The pencil was like lightning, dripping with sweat, and the fingertips were more red and swollen. Not bad, but the storyboard jammed, the protagonist's leg is broken. Failed, reset. Ye Chen smiled lightly, his pocket watch ticking faintly, perfect for the 65th time. He painted 10 complete pages, the preview version of the first chapter of The Circle of Campus. On the first page, the sun dazzles the tree-lined avenue, and the protagonist stumbles while carrying his school bag. The ghost school bell with curly hair rushes over and complains, "Good morning, Bite." Campus reset waiting. On the second page, the golden light of the pocket watch flashes, and the reset moment turns the table. Ghost Grandpa, go to the farm spirit. In the middle section, the club. The three of them counterattacked. Bai Ning whipped the ghost with a ponytail, and crackling sounds resounded throughout the screen. Shen Qingqing's icy eyes made a stroke, and the ghost's head exploded with ink splashing everywhere. At the climax, the protagonist failed to confess, and the arrogant ghost flower blushed, "Idiot painter, reset and try again." The funny explosion made the screen full of dialogue. Shen Qingqing stopped writing and rolled to the table. Her long hair trembled slightly and her cold face cracked in shock. "Wait a minute, the last few times you played a local chicken, this time the storyboarding was as smooth as water, and the dialogue pierced my heart. Newcomer, what magic pill are you taking?" Her pupils dilated and her fingers touched the paper. Shaking like chaff, with the fragrance of ink mixed with the fragrance of flowers, the arrogant voice trembled, "Hidden too deep. My painting skills have become 10 times more stable. I couldn't keep up with the lines just now." Xiao Li's mouth opened wide, and the brush dropped to the ground and clinked, "God." Gu Wan vomited blood after seeing these 10 pages of the first draft. After finishing the painting, Ye Chen flicked the pen and ink dots fell like fireworks. Bai Ning leaned forward, hot air sprayed out from the paper, eyes widened like copper bells, her voice trembled and screamed, "It exploded. This script is as inspired as a nuclear bomb. The storyboard rhythm is amazing, the ghost school beauty looks like Qingqing, she is so arrogant that I am so arrogant. Ha ha ha." She slapped the table and laughed, the wood trembled, her ponytail flicked wildly, and tears flew down her face, her energy erupted like a volcano, her dark circles completely disappeared, and her cheeks were rosy and bulging. Shen Qingqing stood up slowly, his long legs almost fell, and he grabbed the table to steady himself. His pupils were dilated like black holes, and his voice trembled like a fallen leaf in the wind. "It's impossible, this progress is like rebirth. The dialogue touches my heart, and the painting style blends with my skills but is ahead of the curve. Ye Chen, you." She touched the paper with her fingers, her fingertips trembling like an electric shock, her arrogant mask shattered, her eyes blazing with admiration. "Genius. Get out of here, Gu Wan, for this first draft." The fragrance of flowers filled her nostrils, and she actually took the initiative to hand over the pen. "I'll color it, the perfect version." Xiao Li knelt down to pick up a pen, his thin face contorted with excitement. "President. This preview will blow up the club. Qualifications? Let's do it ourselves." The activity room was as lively as a festival, with laughter, table slapping, and paper rustling mixed into a carnival. The dust was washed away by the sun, and the scent of ink turned into the smell of victory. The system beeped, and the dazzling golden light filled the field of vision. Mission 2 completed. The first draft of the hit script, 10 pages on campus, full marks for defeating Gu Wan. Big reward, painting assistance level 2 unlocked, automatic storyboard optimization, hand speed plus 20, paint does not smudge, inspiration automatically fills in the background. Club funds plus 5,000, mysterious sponsorship arrives. There was a commotion outside the door again, and Gu Wan and her followers barged in with a sinister smile on her lips. "Hey, you're doing it again. Screening. Let me see the garbage." She grabbed the drawing, tossed her curly hair, and the scent of perfume was strong. But after reading it, his face turned pale, and the leaflet slipped from his hand and fell to the ground. "This, reset the campus. The dialogue is a joke. The storyboard is overwhelming me." The followers snickered and exclaimed, "President, who is this newcomer? The ghost school beauty looks like you, a perfect replica. Gu Wan's eyes trembled and her voice was sharp, fake. But, we have to give in to the qualifications. It's just a small test, see you in the competition. She turned around and ran away, tapping her high heels, and slammed the door, leaving a lingering feeling of embarrassment. Warmth flowed through the whole body like electricity. Ye Chen's fingers were as nimble as God's. He brushed and tried to draw quickly. The lines were automatically perfect and the ink was as steady as silk. Inner ecstasy. Change your destiny against the will of heaven. Bai Ning jumped up and held up the drawing. We won. Gu Wan was so scared. Ye Chen, Qingqing, let's sign up to go nationwide. Shen Qingqing nodded, smiled, and handed over the colored pen. Happy cooperation, newcomers. Xiao Li cheered. The morale of the club was like a rocket, and the lights were blinding. But as the sun set, the registration deadline bell rang from the school network, tinkling ear-piercingly. Bai Ning checked her mailbox and her face suddenly changed. Wait. System bug. The qualification channel is locked, Gu Wanjun has a monopoly. Shen Qingqing flicked her long hair, her cold eyes burned, and her nails dug into the table. Enough. No matter how much money you have, you are not qualified to paint. I quit the club and go back to the professional class. President, your blood can't save your life. Her voice was trembling and desperate. She grabbed the easel and left, her footsteps like thunder. The sunset was like blood, spilling into the activity room, and the wooden floor cast a long black shadow. The smell of ink mixed with the elegant floral fragrance of Shen Qingqing's body was as pungent as a knife of despair. She lifted her easel with a click, stepped forward with long legs, and gave the doorknob a cold grip, making a creaking sound like tearing her heart. Bai Ning rushed over, her ponytail swaying, tears flying, and her voice choked out from her throat. Qingqing. Don't go. We have a script, Ye Chen's genius first draft. Gu Wan was so scared that she peed. But Shen Qingqing didn't look back. Her cold side face was like an ice sculpture, her long hair was thrown out in an arc, and the door banged loudly, making the window glass buzz and dust fall. Xiao Li's face turned pale, his legs were soft and he knelt down, muttering, "It's over, the ace painter is gone, the club is really disbanded." Bai Ning hit the table with his fist, sawdust flew, the flame of vitality was completely extinguished, and his eyes were as red and swollen as rabbits. Ye Chen, you say, what should I do? What should I do with 5,000 funds? The qualifications are locked, and if I don't clear it, let's paint a ghost. Ye Chen held his pocket watch tightly, his heart churning. The crisis is escalating. For the 66th time, the reset drum is beating. A new task flashed on the panel. Internal bonds, resolving quit the club. The pendulum clicked, the storm came again, the shadow of the activity room lengthened like a giant beast, and the fragrance of ink was filled with unknown sweetness and murderous intent. The lights in the corridor were dim, and the footsteps echoed like a death knell. Ye Chen ran wildly to catch up with Shen Qingqing, her long skirt fluttering, and her back resembled a lonely black swan. The afterglow of the setting sun lengthened the shadow, and he gasped and blocked the way. Sister Qingqing. Listen to me, Loop School needs you to color, without you, this hit movie will become garbage. She stopped, her cold eyes swept over her like a knife, her long hair trembled slightly, the fragrance of flowers hit her face, but it smelled of rust, and her nails were embedded in the old blood in her palms. Newcomer, get out of here. Gu Wan locked the passage. Even though I was a good artist, she copied it and turned it into a scumbag. 2 years ago, she plagiarized my Frost School Beauty at a glance, changed her name to the whole country, and turned me into a joke. The voice trembled, the arrogant mask cracked, the pain of old wounds flashed in her eyes, and there were faint tears. She waved her hand and pushed it away, the hem of her skirt swept across Ye Chen's face, the soft touch felt like an electric shock, and her high heels tapped away. Fail. The pendulum ticks at midnight, the world swirls, Ye Chen bounces off the bed, the morning sun is dazzling, and the campus bells jingle. He complained internally, 67 times. The knot in my heart is the shadow of plagiarism, this time it will be cured by a straight shot. Running wildly into the activity room, Bai Ning's ponytail fluttered and she restarted with enthusiasm, Ye Chen, morning. Qingqing is still here, she hesitated to leave last night. But Shen Qingqing had already half dismantled the easel, and her cold face became even colder, don't bother. Newcomer, you are a master of scripts, but that bitch Gu Wan, inspiration is like a poisonous snake, I'm afraid of being bitten again. Ye Chen brushed his pen to write a branch outline, the ghost school beauty was plagiarized in the past, and the protagonist reset helped her counterattack and draw her true self. She glanced at it, snorted and flicked the pen, with ink splashing on her face, childish. The ghost flower looks like me. Plagiarism hurts, how can it be so easy to heal? With a flick of her long hair, the door slammed shut again. Reset. 68 times, 69 times, for 5 consecutive rounds, Ye Chen tried different angles, an inner confession, hugging her shoulders and breathing hotly, she blushed and pushed away, pervert, a joke about acting as a ghost school beauty being copied, she burst into laughter but immediately despaired, reality is more cruel, a direct poke at Gu Wan's history, her eyes trembled but she slammed the door, don't touch my scar. Sweat soaked his collar, Ye Chen's fingers were red and swollen, and he roared in his heart, for the 72nd time, LV2 assistance is coming. Inspiration automatically replenishes the stems, and you can quickly swipe them with your hands. He optimized the branch plot, the ghost school beauty was being reset. The protagonist drew an exclusive ponytail mark. The plagiarist's painting collapsed, and the Tsundere school beauty burst into tears. Stupid painter, you understand my pain. It was integrated into the main story in 10 pages and turned into a 15-page healing version. The activity room became lively, Bai Ning organized a brainstorm, and the ponytail whip crackled in the air, Ye Chen's new idea. Qingqing, let's try painting. Shen Qingqing received the draft, the pencil stopped emptying, the pupils slowly enlarged, and the fingers shook like fallen leaves when touching the paper, the ghost flower's ponytail, exclusive imprint to prevent copying. The dialogue is reborn only after pain, the painter's idiot will accompany you to cultivate inspiration. Her voice trembled, she bit her lips arrogantly, her long hair covered her face, the fragrance of flowers was mixed with strong tears. The pen tip fell, the lines danced like lightning, and the hand speed was synchronized with Ye Chen's level 2. The ghost school beauty's face gradually appeared, as cold and beautiful as her mirror image, with teardrops and ink dots rolling down the screen. After she finished painting, she looked up, the frost in her eyes melted, and her passionate admiration exploded, Ye Chen. How do you know my heart? This line, God. Gu Wan copied it. She can't draw this pain. Tears fell down her white cheeks, dripping paper, splashing ink, she actually rushed to hug Ye Chen's arm, her limp body trembled, hot breath blew into her ears, thank you. Newcomer, no, Chen. I won't quit. Draw the perfect version, let's blow up the whole country together. The pocket watch on Ye Chen's chest was beating wildly, the cold metal was as hot as fire, and he roared in his heart, the 66th time. Shen Qingqing's knot in her heart and Gu Wan's shadow will be dug out to the bottom this time. Keep it down. Let her despair to the end, and then bounce back to heal her into a hardcore. He took a deep breath, the fragrance of ink hit his nose, and slammed the table, President, don't panic. Xiao Li, guard the door. I'll chase Sister Qingqing and have a heart-to-heart talk. Bai Ning raised her head, nodded with tears in her eyes, and her ponytail hung down weakly. Xiao Li grabbed the door handle, his hands shaking like a sieve. Bai Ning's eyes widened, her mouth was O-shaped, her ponytail exploded and she screamed, wow. Qingqing hugged someone. The arrogant queen burst into tears. Ye Chen, you are a spiritual painter. She jumped up and slapped the table, the wood thumped, the blood was like a volcano, and the fragrance of vitality milk filled her nostrils. Xiao Li's thin face was distorted, his brush clinked as he fell to the ground, and he knelt down and cheered, God's turning point. The iron triangle of the club, Gu Wan is dead. The activity room roared with laughter, the paper rustled, the scent of ink turned into sweet wine, and the sun dispersed the shadows. The system's golden light flashed and the sound was harsh. Task 3, resolve internal bonds and withdraw from the company, full score. Shen Qingqing's loyalty is unlocked. Reward, Painter Bond LV1, Shen Qingqing's coloring automatically plus 30% perfection, shared inspiration points, social subsidy unlocked, donation mode turned on, first time success rate doubled. Warmth flowed through his body, Ye Chen's fingers moved quickly, and his heart was ecstatic. Qingqing becomes a hardcore, and the benefits are sweet. But Bai Ning checked the account book, her face suddenly changed, and her ponytail dropped. 5,000 is not enough for the beach creation meeting. In the preliminaries for the national competition, the whole school club went to expose the qualification channel. Gu Wan's place was crowded with people, and we had to spend money to rent a stall and buy materials. Xiao Li scratched his head, President, my family is poor, raising donations. A joke. Shen Qingqing wiped away tears and sneered, hot blood can't save the wallet. Ye Chen smiled lightly and his pocket watch clicked, donation time. For the 73rd time, he pulled Bai Ning into the campus square and yelled, the comic club's hit looping campus, reset and counterattack, sponsor 1 yuan to become a shareholder. Passers-by complained and laughed, rookie club. Gu Wan Literary Club is the king. The donation box is empty, failed, reset. 74 times, plus bonus, Ye Chen painted a bikini school bell on the spot, but passers-by shouted, dumb. Bai Ning blushed and tried to draw, her ponytail flicked away the pen, and she fell down laughing. Fail. The 78th time, LV2 plus bond buff, fast hand speed. Ye Chen posted a poster, the bikini version of the ghost school beauty is arrogant and complains, with a branch line of healing jokes. In the square, he shouted, sponsor the beach creation meeting, autograph plus comic peripherals. Bai Ning's ponytail danced enthusiastically, Shen Qingqing's coloring was perfect, and her icy eyes were enchanting. Xiao Li distributed flyers, and the three of them had a tacit understanding. The eyes of passers-by widened, and the first strong man threw 10 yuan, it's a masterpiece. The ghost flower looks like my goddess. The girl screamed, healing is dead, donate 50. The cash box jingled incessantly, the sea breeze blew into my nose, and the gold coins flashed blindly in the sun. In half an hour, 8,000 yuan arrived. Beach creation meeting, waves roaring on the shore, salty sea breeze smelling of sunscreen oil, hot waves rolling on the beach, crowds of people and community stalls. During the nationwide warm-up, the artist from the school next door whispered, I heard that the Gu Wan Literary Club has reserved the venue, so I recommend them all. The Ye Chen Club booth was set up, colorful flags were popping, and the 15-page healing version of the poster, Loop Campus, was previewed, and the golden light was dazzling. Bai Ning changed into a bikini, her ponytail was wet, and seawater beads rolled down her plump curves. She came to her with energy and said, Ye Chen, all the ingredients are here. But don't look around. She complained, her face was red and swollen, her soft breasts were swaying, the fragrance of milk mixed with the salt of the sea, and her welfare exploded. Ye Chen snickered inwardly, take a look, reset, the benefits are unlimited. Shen Qingqing's long hair was tied up, and she was as cold as ice in a blue swimsuit. She was painting live, brushing with rustling brushes, and the ghost school beauty jumped up and said, this ponytail mark is exclusive to the country. The audience gathered around, eyes widened. The president of the first school next door trembled, this script resets the pain of plagiarism. The storyboard is amazing, and the style of painting is beyond Gu Wan. The girl burst into tears, the school beauty looks like me, donate 100 to buy peripherals. The booth was full of people, qualification letters of recommendation jingled in hand, and the mysterious judge handed business cards, little brother, the National Organizing Committee has paid attention to you. Beach Party MVP, the passage is unlocked. 75 times, 76 times. Funny series. Once Bai Ning danced to raise funds, her skirt flew up and her underwear was exposed, passers-by sprayed her rice and ran away. Once Shen Qingqing stood on the stage with an arrogant and cold face, passers-by were afraid of the ice and donate money and freeze to death. Sweating profusely, reset and rush. Bai Ning jumped up holding the box, spraying hot air on Ye Chen's face. Ye Chen. Fundraising god. 8,000 is over the limit, we will dominate the beach. Shen Qingqing smiled at the corner of her mouth, took the initiative to hold her arms, and the fragrance of flowers filled her nostrils. Idiot painter, thank you for the extra money. Go to the beach, I will draw a bikini version. Xiao Li burst into tears, the club has taken off. Bai Ning screamed and hugged Ye Chen, the sea water splashed onto her clothes, and her warm lips rubbed her cheeks. National circle. We have entered the big stage. Shen Qingqing's eyes were blazing, and she pushed away arrogantly but wrapped her fingers around Ye Chen. Idiot, don't be proud. Happy cooperation. Xiao Li knelt on the sand and cheered, unbelievable. Gu Wan's face turns green. The waves roared like wild beasts, the blood of the setting sun dyed Gu Wan's note red, the ink was twisted like a poisonous snake spitting out a letter, and the pungent smell of perfume mixed with the fishy smell of the sea penetrated his nose. The white ponytail was stiff, her plump breasts were trembling, and the bikini water drops were falling on the beach. She screamed and rent the air, Gu Wan, you bitch. Are you copying the plot in public? Our ponytail mark healing story, she changed it to reset the literary flower. She is going to crush us in the national competition. The paper turned white when she pinched it with her fingers, her hot-blooded energy turned into murderous intent, and the fragrance of milk turned sour. Shen Qingqing's blue swimsuit clings to her cool curves, her long hair is swaying wildly in the sea breeze, her eyes are filled with frost and murderous intent, and her fingernails are embedded in her palms and bleeding, my old pain. This time, I painted her face to pieces with my own hands. Her brush snapped and broke, and the ink splashed like black blood. Xiao Li's thin face was distorted, he knelt on the sand and held his head, his voice trembling like chaff. It's over, the beach MVP is in vain, Gu Wan's literary and art club connections are crushed, our qualified recommendation has become a joke. The wave of defections is coming. The pocket watch on Ye Chen's neck buzzed wildly, the metal was as hot as lava, and he roared in his heart, the 79th time. Gu Wan committed plagiarism, infiltrated her lair, and exploited the screenwriter's bottleneck. It would be great to suppress her arrogance and then fight back. He smiled lightly and clenched his fists, the sea breeze hitting his face was salty. President, Sister Qingqing, don't worry. This note is a gift, I will counteract the script. Go back to the club first and infiltrate the literary and art club. Bai Ning's eyes widened with tears, her ponytail whipped, and she threw herself on his waist. She breathed soft hot air on his neck. Ye Chen. You have a great idea, the beach is still hot. In the blood, Gu Wan has a green face. But, infiltration? Her club is ironclad. Shen Qingqing snorted arrogantly, but took the initiative to hold his arm, and said, Idiot painter, one wrong step in information, and the whole society will be buried with you. Follow me. The three of them ran wildly on the beach, the waves splashed on their ankles, and the sunset stretched out their shadows like battle flags. The ticking vortex of the midnight pendulum, the world collapses and resets. For the 80th time, the morning sun was dazzling and the campus bells jingled. Ye Chen jumped up on the bed and complained in his heart, the literary club is on the 3rd floor of the library. Gu Wan is as sinister as a fox. He pretends to be a passerby first. The activity room was filled with the fragrance of ink, and white ponytails were dancing in the air. Good morning, Ye Chen. Gu Wan's note made you pee last night, so you're counterattacking this morning? Shen Qingqing's easel rustled, and her cold eyes flashed with anticipation. Information, give me ammunition for painting. Ye Chen sketched out an infiltration plan, pretending to be a fan to sneak in and eavesdrop on the meeting. They nodded, and while the beach was still warm, the three of them went straight to the library. On the third floor of the library, there are shadows on the bookshelves, the musty smell of paper mixed with the bitterness of coffee, and light leaking from the door of the literary club meeting room. Gu Wan leaned on the table, with her long legs crossed, a dark belly and red lips in a smile, and long straight black hair like poison ivy. I borrowed the branch line of Reset Literary Flowers, and changed the ponytail mark to my Wreath of Inspiration. Healing. Step on Ye Chen's trash club. Her follower president echoed in a trembling voice, Sister Wan. But the writer's bottleneck is stuck, and the main campus fantasy is peaceful, but it lacks explosive points. Gu Wan punched the table, sawdust flying, and the smell of perfume was pungent. Trash. National theme fantasy. I ran out of inspiration, just copied it to make up the numbers. Ye Chen hid behind the bookshelf, his heart beating like a drum, and he was ecstatic. The bottleneck was confirmed. But the follower glanced around and his footsteps were revealed. Gu Wan's eyes were like daggers. Who? Get out. Failure. Her follower pounces, the security bell rings. Reset. The 81st and 82nd times, a series of trials and errors. Ye Chen's collar was soaked in sweat and his fingers were swollen. Once when he was pretending to be a cleaner and mopping the floor, Gu Wan stomped on his feet with high heels. Pervert. Once when he was pretending to deliver food, coffee was poured on his face and turned red. Go away. During an inner monologue performance, Gu Wan laughed and said, Newcomer. Intelligence dog. But the followers got into a fight, and nosebleeds sprayed on the pages of the book. Desperation overwhelmed. For the 83rd time, Painter Bond Level 1 shared inspiration flashed. Ye Chen automatically added jokes in his mind, pretending to confess, comedy to set up information. He changed into a handsome shirt and walked straight into the conference room. Gu Wan was rubbing her temples and muttering, the bottleneck, where is the fantasy explosion point? Goddess Gu Wan. Ye Chen pushed the door, his voice was trembling, his knees softened and he knelt down, holding his heart in his hands, his eyes watery. Ye Chen fan. I heard about the preview of Reset Literary Flowers. It's a masterpiece. But your recent screenwriting bottleneck is stuck in the main plot. No, I have inspiration. The breaking point. In the campus fantasy Reset, the competitor is scheming and plagiarizing, and the protagonist counterattacks by painting mirror trap. Gu Wan was stunned, her long straight black hair trembled slightly, her dark eyes narrowed, and she tapped her finger on the table. How do you know the bottleneck? Get out, don't make excuses. But the corner of her mouth twitching, the strong smell of perfume could not hide his curiosity, and the follower stared. Sister Wan, this kid is a spy of Ye Chen society. Ye Chen snickered inwardly and continued, Goddess, I confess. For you, inspiration is flowing. Mirror garland, plagiarist's painting collapsed and self-destructed. Gu Wan blushed. He swollen, clenched his red lips, kicked his calf with high heels and said, Confession. Childish. But, mirror image, it's okay. Get out, the information is gone. The follower pounced on the raindrops with his fists, and he dodged and fled, successfully eavesdropping on all bottlenecks. The inspiration was dry, the main line was flat, and he copied the branch lines to make up for it. Returning from Reset, for the 84th time, the activity room was filled with laughter. Ye Chen slapped the table and threw out the outline of his counterattack. The loop of competition. The protagonist resets to infiltrate the rival company, dig out bottlenecks, and reverse the mirror trap loop. The sinister female screenwriter plagiarizes and explodes, and the campus fantasy comedy is full of explosive points. Bai Ning's ponytail exploded, her eyes were as round as copper bells, and her mouth was O-shaped and she screamed, Ye Chen. You succeeded in infiltration. Fake confession to trick Gu Wan. God assist. Ha ha ha, her face is as red and swollen as a tomato. She threw herself on Ye Chen's back, pressed her plump and soft shoulders, spraying hot air into her ears, the fragrance of milk mixed with the sweetness of ink. God teammate. Gu Wan copied this counterscript. Digging your own grave. Shen Qingqing's pencil stopped in the air, her pupils slowly dilated, her cold face cracked into an arrogant smile, and her fingers trembled like electric shocks when touching the paper. Idiot painter, mirror trap. Perfect copy. My coloring is plus 30%, and I painted her black-bellied and collapsed face. Her brushes danced wildly, the lines jumped like lightning, the mirror garland twisted and exploded, Gu Wan's red lips twisted and collapsed, and the picture was like a tsunami. After finishing the painting, her eyes were fiery, her long hair was swaying, and she took the initiative to hook Ye Chen's chin. The fragrance of flowers was rich. Chen, it's a pleasure to work with you. I'll paint her to death. But the sunset was blood red, and the waves rolled up a wet note. Gu Wan's handwriting was dark. Return to campus. It's a good inspiration. Let's borrow it for use. Contest my reset literary flower, copy your branch line, get out. The ink on the note was not dry yet, and the smell of perfume was pungent. Bai Ning's face turned pale. Public theft. Shen Qingqing clenched his fists and said with cold eyes, Gu Wan, you are seeking death. Ye Chen held his watch and his heart turned upside down, the 79th time. Counterattack. The pendulum is clicking, the waves are roaring, the shadow on the beach is lengthening like a giant beast, and the new crisis is filled with sweet murderous intent. Xiao Li's thin face turned pale and he became ecstatic, his brush clinked to the ground, he knelt down and hugged his thighs and trembled, a masterpiece from the Iron Triangle. Gu Wan's bottleneck is exposed, a 10-page quick response to The Circle of Competition. The club is invincible. Defect? Who dares? The activity room roared with laughter, paper rustled, the ink smell turned into the smell of victory, and the sun shone into the elongated shadow like a championship flag. The golden light of the system flashed, and the sound was as harsh as a celebration cannon. Task 4, Opponent Insight Penetration in Counterattack, full score. Gu Wan's weakness is locked. The daily life of the club is accelerating, and the corner of the library has become a creative paradise. The bitterness of the coffee is mixed with the fragrance of ink, and the white ponytail whip is crackling in the air. The division of labor in the organization. Ye Chen assists, Editor-in-Chief. Qingqing colors, Xiao Li storyboards. Shen Qingqing hummed proudly, but her legs were pressed against Ye Chen's legs, and the soft heat came. Idiot, sharing the inspiration of the mirror image, drawing my exclusive version. Bai Ning complained and blushed, ambiguous ghost. President, I supervised the battle with passion. Xiao Li sprayed, the divine triangle, daily life is like honey. The Circle of Competition is a 20-page quick write-up, with countermeasures embedded in the loop campus. The ponytail mark is upgraded to mirror anti-copying, everyone's hand speed is synchronized, the pages are piled up, and the laughter echoes. Gu Wan makes a surprise attack. In the 85th test, she slammed the door with long straight black hair and barged in. She smiled sinisterly and hit her murderous intent. Ye Chen, I heard about counterattack. Just for fun. The followers gathered around, the smell of perfume was overwhelming. Bai Ning's fist squeezed by, and Shen Qingqing's brush clicked. Xiao Li's legs went weak. Crisis. But Ye Chen smiled lightly and threw out the draft of The Circle of Competition. Gu Wan glanced at it, his pupils shrank suddenly, and his hands trembled as the page rustled. This, mirror trap. My bottleneck? Her face turned pale and her red lips trembled. When she moved, the smell of perfume turned into cold sweat. You infiltrated our company? Fake confessions are perverted. The follower's eyes widened and he murmured, Sister Wan's weakness is exposed. You can't copy it. Gu Wan slammed the door and ran away, her high heels clicking loudly, and her shadow twisted like a defeated dog. Reward, Opponent Insight LV1, Automatic Analysis of Enemy Bottlenecks, Inspired Countermeasures plus 50% Explosion Rate, screenwriter assistance LV3 unlocked, script automatically expanded to 20 pages, competitive module implantation, community morale plus 30%. Warmth flowed through his body, Ye Chen's mind flooded with inspiration, his hands moved as fast as a god, and he roared in his heart. Gu Wan revealed the script, and the bond between partners heated up. But Bai Ning checked her phone, her face suddenly changed, and her ponytail drooped. It's broken, the national competition preliminaries are next week. Gu Wan spread rumors that we copied her old works. Xiao Li, an old member of the club, and several painters sent private messages about their intention to defect. Large-scale crisis. Information. 8,000 gold is not enough to attract people, morale is about to collapse. Xiao Li's face turned pale and he murmured, I have been shaken. There is a wave of defections. Shen Qingqing's cold eyes flashed with worry, hot blood can't save people's hearts. Ye Chen clicked his watch and his heart turned upside down, the 86th time, defection crisis. Suppress despair and rise up again. The afterglow of the setting sun shines in, the shadows lengthen like the hands of a traitor, a new crisis rolls in like a huge wave, and the creative paradise is cracked. The afterglow of the setting sun in the activity room was like blood, the fragrance of ink mixed with the bitterness of coffee grounds penetrated the nose, and the rustling of stacked pages stopped abruptly. Xiao Li's thin face turned as white as paper, and his knees went soft. The screen of his mobile phone lit up and rang with private messages, President. I received an invitation from Gu Wan. The funding of the literary and art club has been doubled, and the equipment is top-notch. She said that we plagiarized, and the evidence is flying everywhere. There were clumsy footsteps outside the door, and 3 old painters pushed the door in. Their backpacks thumped on the floor, and their eyes were red and swollen. They avoided Bai Ning's gaze. President, I'm sorry. Gu Wan promised everything. National competition resources, let's follow her. Bai Ning flicked her ponytail, gasped for air, her plump breasts trembled, her passionate face was bursting with tears, and her voice shook like a candle in the wind. Defection? You bastards! The beach MVP is still hot, where is the seaside oath? She jumped up and tugged on someone's collar, her nose was filled with the smell of milk, and her tears were salty, but she was thrown away and fell to the ground, her skirt lifting up her white thighs. Xiao Li held his head and howled, it's over. There are 4 people left in the club, and the capital of 8,000 cannot afford newbies. It's a joke in the preliminaries. Shen Qingqing's brush snapped and broke, his blue eyes turned to ice and despair, his fingers embedded in the drawing and tore the fabric, and his cold lips spit blood. People's hearts are like ink, scattered. Gu Wan's evil spirit has won. The activity room echoed in the air, the sunset stretched the shadow of the traitor like a black knife, the creative paradise collapsed, and the tsunami of despair overwhelmed him. Bai Ning screamed and hugged Ye Chen, swept her ponytail across her face and tickled her, and rubbed her cheeks with hot lips. God assist. Gu Wan was scared to pee and ran away. The club won a small victory. Shen Qingqing's eyes were blazing, and she took the initiative to kiss her forehead, with a sweet fragrance. Idiot Chen, thank you for the information. The bond is even stronger. Xiao Li knelt down and cheered, invincible. Let's dominate the whole country. For the 87th time, the morning sun was dazzling and the campus bells jingled. Ye Chen jumped up from the bed and took stock in his mind. The opponent's insight level 1 automatically scanned Gu Wan's weaknesses, and the counterattack script was quickly completed in 20 pages, and the morale of the club increased by 30%. He rushed into the activity room, Bai Ning's ponytail flying and enthusiastically restarting. Good morning, Ye Chen. Defection crisis? Shen Qingqing's cold eyes flashed with worry, and her brush strokes rustled. He came up with a plan, passionate speech plus painting skills show plus script reversal. First summon Xiao Li to test the waters. Bai Ning nodded, and the 3 of them went straight to the dormitory and invited Xiao Li to a meeting. She passionately delivered a speech, brother. Gu Wan's rumors are false, the countermirror script has been completed, we are invincible. Xiao Li hesitated with a thin face, shaking his head, but her funds. Shen Qingqing arrogantly tossed her long hair, cool brushes danced wildly, and quickly drew Gu Wan's collapsed face. Xiao Li's eyes widened and his thin hands trembled. Oh my god, but 2 of the old painters have left. Gu Wan's followers made a surprise attack, and the perfume was pungent. Xiao Li hesitated and followed, failed. Reset. The 88th, 89th time, a series of trial and error, Ye Chen was sweating like rain, and his fingers were blistered. One time, Bai Ning was too excited during a speech, and Xiao Li's face was red and swollen when she was hit by her ponytail. One time, Shen Qingqing's painting skills went too far, and her face was smeared with ink. One time, Ye Chen was too excited while reading a script, and Xiao Li laughed but privately messaged Gu Wan for his position. Despair is like a wave. For the 90th time, the painter's bond level 1 plus the screenwriter's assistant level 3 are linked together, and a golden light flashes in my mind. The team division of labor is perfect. Bai Ning's heartwarming speech, Shen Qingqing's painting skills are shocking, and Ye Chen's script contains personal memes. He changed into a handsome coat and rushed straight to the activity room, gathering everyone. Everyone. Ye Chen opened the door, his voice was as steady as a bell, and the afterglow of the setting sun shone on his shoulders. Rumors about Gu Wan. A joke. Watch the counterfilm of The Circle of Competition. He threw out 20 pages of the script, the pages rustled and unfolded, the mirror trap circle exploded, Gu Wan's sinister image was distorted and burst into tears, and the campus fantasy was full of explosive points. The veteran painter glanced around, his pupils slowly dilated, and his fingers touched the paper and shook like an electric shock. Is this Ye Chen's new guy? Penetrating her bottleneck? Divine editor. Bai Ning's ponytail exploded, and he took over the baton with passion. He threw himself on the table and slapped his hand, his plump curves trembled, and the fragrance of milk mixed with the sweetness of ink. Brothers. Remember the beach MVP? We swore. Gu Wan plagiarized and blew himself up. Our mirror defense is invincible. Funds. Double the preliminaries. Who will do it with me? Her tears flashed, her ponytail whipped out, hot air sprayed on everyone's face, and her vitality lit up the air like a torch. An old painter knelt down on his hands and knees, muttering, "President is hot-blooded." I was wrong. Shen Qingqing hummed proudly, her long hair waving in the waves, her cold eyes fiery. She stood next to Ye Chen, her legs pressed against his legs softly, and she painted a personal version with lightning speed. Each person's ponytail mark upgraded the mirror image talisman. The lines are as delicate as silk, the colors are bursting and dazzling, the coloring plus 30% magic skill appears on the paper, and the image of Gu Wan's follower is shattered like glass shards. Idiots, look. She hooked Ye Chen's arm, the fragrance of flowers was strong and sweet with sweat, and her fingers were shaking at the drawing. This is our future, defecting. You're bad at painting yourself. The old painters had O-shaped mouths, slim faces and twisted faces. Ecstatically, one person held his head and shouted, Sister Qingqing's magic pen. My mirror image is super personal. Xiao Li sprayed the rice on the ground, knelt down and hugged Ye Chen's legs and trembled. Iron triangle plus veteran. Invincible return. But one person hesitated. Gu Wan promised equipment. Ye Chen smiled lightly, and the opponent's insight level 1 automatically analyzed. This person's bottleneck is afraid of equipment. He was ecstatic in his inner monologue, flipping the last page of the script. Look. Win the preliminaries, and the social subsidy will unlock the top match. Reset the redemption plot, the protagonist will bring back the traitor, and the family will never be separated in a fantasy circle. Everyone's eyes widened, their breathing quickened, and the pages rustled like a victory drum. An old painter burst into tears and rushed to him. God Ye Chen. Change people's hearts. Bai Ning screamed and hugged his waist, pressing her shoulders with soft warmth, and wiping her cheeks with hot lips. God teammate. Keep them all. Shen Qingqing's eyes were blazing, and she took the initiative to hold Ye Chen's hand. her fingertips were cold and hot, and the fragrance of flowers lingered. Fool Chen, the iron bond, thank you. Xiao Li danced his fist wildly, the tide of defection has turned. The pocket watch around Ye Chen's neck buzzed wildly, the metal was as hot as charcoal, and he roared in his heart, the 86th time. The wave of defections broke out. Gu Wan's rumors were so poisonous, he suppressed despair first, and then turned against the Iron Army. He clenched his fists and stood up, with the salty sea breeze still on his tongue. Don't panic. This is a trial, to reshape the bond. Bai Ning's eyes widened with tears, her ponytail hung weakly on her shoulders, and she murmured, God assists, can you do it? Everyone ran away. But the midnight pendulum ticked in the whirlpool, and the world collapsed and reset. Gu Wan's follower broke in, his sour perfume covering his cold sweat. Traitors, Sister Wan is waiting for you. But the old painters shouted in unison, get out. The mirror self-destructs you. The follower's face turned pale, he stepped back with his high heels tapping, and the door slammed shut. Ye Chen's heart was churning, opportunity. Digging back. He chased him out and whispered, brother, are you bored with Gu Wan? She has a bottleneck of inspiration, come to us, the script god deceives her. The attendant's pupils shrank, and his thin hands trembled as he held the business card. You. Infiltration god. Okay, I betray Gu Wan. Success. Celebrating carnival. The white ponytail whip crackled in the air, fluttering into Ye Chen's arms and circling, the plump soft elastic pressed the breasts, the sweet smell of milk burst into the nose, and the hot lips chirped 3 times, God assist. The Iron Army of the club, people and money are pouring in. Shen Qingqing pushed her away arrogantly, but took the initiative to hold Ye Chen's hands tightly, her nails dug into the palms of her hands and kneaded them gently, her cold face flushed, and the fragrance of flowers hit her face. Idiot, handshakes, never let go. The 3 hugged each other, with the soft heat and the fragrance of ink. Xiao Li knelt down in the outer circle and cheered, God Triangle Plus. Veteran is ecstatic. But the comedy benefit suddenly occurred, and the trial and error flashback was reset. The 89th time, during Bai Ning's speech, Ye Chen's foot slipped, and the ink pool fell under her ponytail. Her plump face was covered with nosebleeds, and she complained in her heart, full score for the benefit. She screamed and blushed, abnormal. Slippery and accurate. Everyone laughed, the activity room roared, the sunset turned into golden light, and the pages flew like colorful flags. Suddenly, the mobile phones dinged and exploded. Bai Ning took it out, her ponytail stiffened, her plump breasts trembling, and her voice cracked, the draw for the preliminaries, is out. The first battle, Face Gu Wan Literary Club. National Theme Campus Fantasy, she copied the branch plot plus connections, our Iron Army's first kill. Shen Qingqing held it, the strength of his hands exploded, and his blue eyes flashed with murderous intent, a sinister fox, the first battle is bad. Xiao Li's thin face turned pale, the crisis has escalated. Her revenge is coming. Gu Wan smiled sinisterly and announced that the private message floated in, and the smell of perfume seemed to be pungent through the air. In the first battle, I'm waiting for you to blow yourself up. Ye Chen's pocket watch ticked wildly, and he roared in his heart, the 91st time, the first battle to the death. Despair overwhelmed, the champion bounced back. The setting sun sinks, the night shadow engulfs the activity room, the war drums roar faintly, and a new crisis is like a dark cloud pressing over the city. The night shadows in the activity room are like ink pouring, the wind howling outside the window is like a ghost crying, and the table lamps are dim and swaying, elongating everyone's faces into twisted ghosts. The lingering fragrance of the paper mixed with the sourness of cold sweat went straight into the nose, the white ponytail was unable to stick to the neck, the plump breasts rose and fell like a candle in the wind, and the hot-blooded eyes reflected the cold blue light of the mobile phone screen. First battle. Gu Wan Literary Club. She privately messaged with a sinister smile, I'm waiting for you, garbage club. Her voice broke, and she threw the phone to the ground. The glass cracked spider web spread, and the fragrance of milk turned to salty tears and hit her nostrils. Xiao Li's thin face was as white as wax, his knees knocked against the table legs, and he held his head in his thin hands and trembled. It's over. She has connections in the National Competition Organizing Committee, and is equipped with top-notch equipment. Our Iron Army. The laughing stock of the preliminaries. The old painter has just returned, and his morale has collapsed again. An old painter's eyes were red and swollen. Light, murmuring, Gu Wan's dirty information is all over the sky. She copied us and raked it up. With 8,000 funds, we can't even print promotional posters. The air is as stagnant as lead, the shadows of the trees outside the door are dancing wildly and knocking on the window like claws, the black mist of despair is overwhelming, and the creative paradise is once again stuck in the quagmire. Shen Qingqing's long hair covered her eyes, her cold lips bit her and blood rolled down the drawing, her blue eyes flickered with murderous intent but turned into ashes, her fingers embedded in the pen barrel and shattered, ink splattered on the page like black blood, a black-bellied fox. She was ruined in the first battle. So what if we are all together? The inspiration bottleneck is blocked, the main line is too flat. She mirrored us and blew herself up. She snorted arrogantly and choked, her legs went weak and she sat against the wall, the fragrance of flowers faded away, leaving only sweat. The pocket watch on Ye Chen's neck was clicking like his heartbeat was beating wildly. The metal burned through his clothes and burned his skin. He roared in his heart, the 91st time. Dark clouds descend on the city in the first battle. Gu Wan's killer tip. Opponent insight level 1 scan, inspiration is dry, the main plot is peaceful, and the black material for revenge must be old drafts stolen and perjured. Suppress despair first and optimize the storyboard champion. He clenched his fists and stood up, his voice was steady but his throat was dry. Don't collapse. Let's start the celebration party, gossip about her, and boost morale. We will reset the trial venue, publicity, and storyboards tomorrow. Everyone looked up, their pupils shrunk, and Bai Ning's eyes widened with tears. God assists, are you crazy? Are you having a party in a crisis? But the warm current of morale level 3 was surging faintly. Xiao Li wiped his tears with his thin hand, and murmured, try it. The lights were brightened, and the activity room managed to squeeze out a celebratory atmosphere. The pizza box was greasy and sweet, and the soda was bubbling like blood bubbles. Everyone around the table felt heavy on their shoulders. Bai Ning forced a smile, whipped her ponytail and rushed onto Ye Chen's shoulders, her plump and soft elastic arms rolled with heat, and her hot lips rubbed his earlobe. Her nose was full of milk. Idiot Chen, you have turned around and defected, party favors go first. Gu Wan gossip, I heard that she was inspired, she cried in the middle of the night and deleted the manuscript, her face was wrinkled. She giggled. Xiao Li sprayed rice on the ground, her thin face was distorted in ecstasy. The fox is dry. They mirrored the trap and tricked her. Shen Qingqing pushed Bai Ning away arrogantly, and took the initiative to sit beside Ye Chen's legs with her long hair waved. Her legs were soft and warm against his, the fragrance of flowers was rich and sweet, and her fingertips were cold and she squeezed his palms. The pinch turned hot. Idiot, hold on tight, I'm complaining that she copied my old manuscript and it's so bad. Her blue eyes were blazing, and her brush quickly drew a sketch of Gu Wan's crying face. The lines were twisted like ghosts, and the ink dripped on the table. The eyes of the veteran painters gradually brightened, and one of them knelt down on the table with weak legs. Sister Qingqing is so ridiculous. Gu Wan's bottleneck is exposed, we win the first battle. Not to be outdone, Bai Ning jumped into Ye Chen's arms and spun around, her plump breasts bouncing and the sweet smell of milk burst into her nose, her warm lips chirped 3 times in a row and her ears were moist, benefits stacked. Social. Long-lasting kisses, our teammates will never be separated. The 3-person stack of arhats roared with laughter, and Xiao Li knelt down in the outer circle to cheer and fist dance, sweet iron triangle. Gu Wan died of soreness. But the wind outside the window was stronger, the shadows of the trees knocked on the window like a reminder, the party laughter became hollow, and the oppressive black mist penetrated into the bone marrow. The pendulum ticks at midnight, the world collapses like an ink vortex and Ye Chen wakes up for the 92nd time. The morning sun is dazzling but his heart is as heavy as lead. Mental inventory, team tacit understanding plus 50% linkage, opponent insight level 1 analysis Gu Wan storyboard weakness, the climax is peaceful, the explosion rate is only 30%. He rushed to the activity room, his white ponytail flying and his blood boiling over. Good morning, Ye Chen. The first battle with black clouds. Shen Qingqing's cold eyes flashed with worry, and her brushes rustled. His plan, first use the venue to promote, optimize the climax storyboard of The Circle of Competition, and counteract the dirty material. The three of them went straight to the school office. The ant at the counter had dark circles under her eyes and the bitterness of the coffee hit her nostrils. Activity room. It's the most popular room in the preliminaries. It's full. Gu Wan's literary club has booked 3 rooms, you trash club. Bai Ning's ponytail exploded, and blood rushed to the table with her palms full. Trembling, Auntie. Recommended by Beach MVP, the posters are printed, let's borrow a room to promote. Auntie sneered, breathing sourly, evidence. Gu Wan said that you plagiarized, get out. Xiao Li's face turned pale and he knelt down, it's over. Failure. Reset. For the 93rd time, Ye Chen changed his strategy and complained in his heart, testing the waters of funny farce. He brought Bai Ning and Shen Qingqing to wear cosplay, a Beach MVP swimsuit version. Bai Ning has a ponytail tied into a bikini, with plump curves and bouncing milky fragrance. Shen Qingqing has cool blue eyes with long bunny ears hair, and has sweet and floral legs with slender legs. Rushing to the school office, the ant stared at the coffee nozzle, you, pervert. Bai Ning's blood swirled in circles, and the soft elastic pressed the counter in a hot wave, Auntie. MVP welfare show, borrowing the venue for publicity. Shen Qingqing's arrogant quick-drawing rabbit ears Gu Wan collapsed, ink splattered, look. The fox blew himself up. The ant blushed and her legs went weak, muttering, God's cause, lend it. But don't make a fuss. Success. Xiao Li later chased after fans, full marks for the benefits. I got the venue. But the ant privately messaged Gu Wan, and the crisis loomed. The 94th, 95th time, a series of resets, Ye Chen's fingers were blistered, and his tongue was sweating like rain. One time, the Bai Ning promotional poster was too hot-blooded, and the ponytailed auntie's face was red and swollen. One time, Shen Qingqing's painting style was too refined, and that Sundra rabbit-eared Auntie Gu Wan's follower, who has betrayed, exposed the farce. One time, the venue was borrowed, the test shooting storyboard was publicized, Gu Wan's spy perfume raided, and the private message of the black material trailer exploded in the group. Surge of despair, the 96th time, painter bond LV1 plus screenwriter assistant LV3 plus team LV3 golden light flash, perfect division of labor. Bai Ning's publicity and planning energy exploded, Shen Qingqing's painting style was refined to a god-level level, and Ye Chen's storyboarding was optimized and his insights were locked. He put on a handsome black trench coat and pushed the door of the activity room, his voice was like a bell beating the night shadow, the venue is ready. Celebrations continue, the first battle storyboard is optimized. Everyone's pupils dilated, and the old painter's skinny hands trembled, speed. Rabbit ears welfare news, the school affairs office exploded. Bai Ning's ponytail whip cracked the air slap, she fluttered at Ye Chen's waist, circling her plump breasts, and her breasts were sweet and juicy. Her hot lips and cheeks were moist and hot, God planned it. I'll do the promotional posters, the UNC Beach MVP version, which will hit the campus. She threw the manuscript, and the ponytail mark amulet filled the page. The colors exploded and dazzled, and the passionate lines were like torches. Xiao Li knelt down and hugged his legs and trembled, President's seal. Gu Wan's dirty stuff. We are drowned in publicity. Shen Qingqing hummed proudly, standing next to Ye Chen and pressing her legs softly. The fragrance of flowers wrapped around his arm, and her fingertips were hot and embedded. Idiot Chen, I will refine the painting style. Climax storyboard, Gu Wan's typing bottleneck, explosive points are implanted in circles to self-destruct, and the lines are delicate plus 30% jumping. Her brushes danced like lightning, and the page rustled like a rainstorm. Gu Wan's image was distorted and the glass shattered. His blue eyes seduce him. Look, our future, a bad fox. The old painter's mouth was O-shaped, his face was slimmed and twisted with joy. One person held his head and cried, Sister Qingqing's magic brush. After refinement, the hit rate is 200%, the main line of typing will kill her. Ye Chen smiled lightly, and his opponent's insight level 1 automatically scanned the flood in his mind, Gu Wan's dirty information, forging old manuscripts and stealing pictures. He was ecstatic in his heart, and expanded the climax storyboard of The Circle of Competition to 30 pages. The pages unfolded to the beat of rustling drums, mirror traps were layered, the protagonist reversed the scandal and blew himself up, the campus fantasy exploded like thunder, and Gu Wan's black face was peeled off layer by layer to reveal the bones. Optimization completed. The promotion venue uses rabbit ears as a bonus, the first kill in the preliminaries. Everyone was short of breath and their eyes widened. An old painter fell to his knees with weak hands and legs and burst into tears. Ye Chen has a divine insight. Penetrate the weaknesses of black materials, and the magic mirror is heaven-defying. Bai Ning screamed and hugged his waist, and the soft hot ponytail swept away the itch on his neck. Hot, great teammate. Promote my plan, the energy explodes. Shen Qingqing's eyes were blazing, she took the initiative to hold Ye Chen's face with her hands, gently scraped her nails and rubbed them gently, a cool blush and the fragrance of flowers hit her face. Idiot, the bond of the painting style, you will always win. Xiao Li danced his fists wildly, the division of labor of the Iron Army is invincible. The publicity venue was brightly lit, posters plastered all over the campus like colorful flags flying wildly. Bai Ning gave a passionate speech, the microphone boomed, and the ponytail flew plump and trembling, and the fragrance of milk wafted. Brothers and sisters. Mirror defense of Loop Campus, Gu Wan plagiarized and blew himself up. Beach MVP Iron Army, vote for us. Passers-by looked on with wide eyes and muttered, President Genki. Black material. A joke. Shen Qingqing showed off his painting style on the spot, using rustling brushes to refine the climax. Gu Wan's broken face appeared on the wall with ink and blood splattered on it. The fragrance of flowers made passers-by dizzy. Genius painter. Explosive god. Ye Chen's storyboard guidance, the veteran painter's hand speed synchronized the rainstorm and rustle, and the morale was high and the warm current flowed through everyone. But Gu Wan's follower, Rebel, whispered, Sister Wan is angry, and she has a secret weapon, to blow up on the day of the preliminaries. The golden light of the system exploded, ringing like thunder to celebrate. Super mission, Team Bond LV3 unlocked. The defection was reversed and the enemy general was poached. Warmth surged, and Ye Chen's mind flooded. Team Tacit understanding plus 50%, division of labor automatically optimized, and morale skyrocketing. The hand speeds of all members are synchronized, the brushes are rustling like a rainstorm, the script has been expanded to 30 pages, and the mirror defense of Loop Campus is fully covered. On the eve of the preliminaries, the night shadows in the activity room were swallowed up again, thunder outside the window was like war drums, and black clouds were over the city, and a storm was coming. Bai Ning's ponytail stiffened and tears flashed, her plump breasts trembled and she hugged Ye Chen's waist softly. God is prepared, but she has black material and blew herself up in the first battle. Shen Qingqing's handshake was strong, and the fingertips embedded in the palm turned from hot to ice, and the fragrance of flowers faded. It's a bad painting, Fox. Xiao Li's thin face turned pale and he knelt down, the peak of the crisis. Gu Wan's private message exploded collectively, and the sour perfume pungent in the air. on the day of the preliminaries, the killer black material exploded all over the internet. Rubbish club, plagiarizing evidence and waiting to die. The pocket watch ticked wildly like a countdown, and Ye Chen roared in his heart, the 99th time, the first fight to the death. The dark clouds are overwhelming, and the champion rebounds. Thunder tore through the night, raindrops knocked on the windows like thousands of arrows, and a tsunami of despair swallowed up the creative paradise. Thunder exploded in the night sky like the roar of a giant beast, raindrops were like thousands of steel needles knocking on the window glass, the lights in the activity room flickered into blood-red ghosts, and the air was cold and damp, mixed with sweat and ink, and the pain penetrated into the heart. Gu Wan's private messages were bombarded on the mobile phone like poisonous snakes. The blue light on the screen reflected the dazzling blue light on everyone's faces and twisted them into masks of despair. Forgery of old manuscripts and stolen pictures exploded all over the internet. The rubbish club plagiarized the evidence and the club was destroyed on the day of the preliminaries. Bai Ning's ponytail was wet and stuck to the side of her neck. Her plump body trembled and she sat on her knees. Her passionate eyes were filled with tears and the sound of rain was broken. The fragrance of milk faded away, leaving only saltiness. God is planning to destroy everything. She is the organizer of the committee. Pulse, the black material virus has spread to the campus, and our posters have become a laughing stock. Shen Qingqing's blue eyes were filled with murderous intent, and her fingers were embedded in Ye Chen's arm flesh, which was hot and stinging. The scent of flowers was suppressed by the smell of thunder, and her arrogant voice trembled. The painting is a bad fox, the evidence is fake, collect the evidence and fight back, you idiot. Xiao Li's face was waxy and white as a dead person, his knees banged against the table legs, and the old painters held their heads and roared, and the pages rustled like startled birds. The countdown of the pocket watch ticked like a death scythe, the black tide of despair swallowed up the creative paradise, and the morale of the Iron Army collapsed instantly. The metal on Ye Chen's neck burned like a soldering iron, his heart beat wildly and he roared in his heart, the 99th time. The killer's trump card and perjury are all locked up, and the opponent's inside level 1 scan. Gu Wan's old manuscripts were stolen and fabricated, and the source was her trader's cell phone. The team level 3 has a tacit understanding and is optimized, and the evidence collection layout is activated, but the risk is high. A thunderstorm cuts off the internet and circuits on the eve of the preliminaries, and searching for her evidence is like a sheep in a tiger's den. Reset the test, lower it and play again. He stood up with a dry throat, and his voice was as heavy as a hammer smashing into the fog. We can't collapse. The black material is fake, collect evidence and fight back. Bai Ning openly supports warm heart. Shen Qingqing's painting of my portrait goes viral, crisis public relations is started. Everyone looked up and their pupils shrank, Bai Ning's eyes widened with tears. The ponytail trembled slightly, crazy. Her connections are ironclad. Searching for evidence is a dead end. But there was a warm current. Xiao Li wiped his face with his thin hands and murmured, God, try. The vortex of the midnight clock disintegrated the world, and Ye Chen woke up for the 100th time. The morning sun was piercing and his heart was heavy. Mental inventory. The promotional venue is stable, the storyboard L2 explosive point is implanted, and the black material weakness is the back door of the campus located on the mobile phone of the trader. He rushed to the activity room, his blood boiling and his ponytail flying again. Ye Chen, are there dark clouds overhead? Shen Qingqing's cold eyes flickered with worry. The inner game is like a chessboard churning, running straight into the follower risks being banned by the organizing committee, indirect bait. No, reset the infinity and sacrifice the small and big things. He dumped his plan, the traitor follower locates the back door, and cosplays to trap the mobile phone evidence. The 3 cosplayers in bunny-eared swimsuits reappeared, Bai Ning's plump bouncing milk fragrance and hot blood circled, I'm going to be the vitality bait. Shen Qingqing's arrogant legs were soft and warm against his, and the sweet floral fragrance quickly drew the follower's crying face, idiot, the evidence is bad. He went straight to the back door, the muddy stench was steaming after the rain, and the follower's short and fat figure was secretly photographed on the poster with the flash of the mobile phone. The white ponytail whip snapped in the air, and the plumpness pressed against his shoulders. Handsome guy. MVP welfare show, selfie and group photo. The follower's eyes bulged and he breathed oil and sweat. Pervert club. Get out. Ye Chen sneered inwardly, realizing that the password for locking the LV1 mobile phone was weak. Birthday 888. Shen Qingqing swung her rabbit ears and took the initiative to get closer to the floral mist. She swiped the screen with her fingertips to unlock, and found all the evidence, traces of fake photos. Success. But the attendant howled, Sister Gu Wan. They stole the mobile phone. The security guard of the organizing committee came with a thunderbolt, and the short and fat leg was dragged away, indicating a danger. Reset. For the 101st time, Ye Chen's fingers were blistered, sweaty, and his tongue was dry, and he complained in his heart, the funny bait has gone too far, the followers must be alert. Change your wits and lay out false information to counter the temptation. He took everyone to the activity room and released a draft of the viral comic. The black material circle exploded. The mirror plot was implanted into Gu Wan's skin, and the perjury automatically backfired with a 200% explosion point. The ponytail of Bai Ning's blood-stamped poster exploded, public support. The president's live broadcast to fight back. Shen Qingqing held his palm arrogantly and rubbed it passionately. Portrait of you, whiten the virus on your face. However, when trying to collect evidence, the followers were surrounded by guards, and the secret camera failed. Xiao Li knelt down, held his head and trembled. Dead end. Failed. Reset. The 102nd time, the game is upped. I will be sacrificed for spy infiltration. Ye Chen walked into Gu Wan's literary club alone. The handsome man in a windbreaker opened the door and his perfume was sour and pungent like poisonous mist. Gu Wan's dark eyes smiled sinisterly and her red lips curved. Perverted Ye Chen. Preheating for black material, plagiarism and waiting to die. The short, fat follower stared and snorted, get out of here. Inner thoughts, insight LV1 analysis, Gu Wan's inspiration bottleneck, the main line is flat, her desk manuscript is as messy as shit. He picked up the manuscript with a fake smile. Sister Gu's masterpiece, can you learn from it? Gu Wan was suspicious and flashed the photo with her phone, but the security guard rushed to punch her in the head and fainted. The evidence is half recovered. Reset. The waves of despair piled up, and for the 103rd time, Ye Chen's eyes were red and swollen, and he roared in his heart, the game is in an endless loop. No, Team Level 3 Linkage Solution. Division of Labor. Bai Ning's public live broadcast to support the campus square. Shen Qingqing's portrait went viral on the internet, and she searched for evidence and added code to the night attack in Black Windbreaker. The thunderstorm came again on the night before the preliminaries. The lights in the activity room were like candles, and the bitter mist of ink, sweat, and coffee filled the air. The white ponytail was wet and sticky to the neck, plump and trembling, but hot blood rushed to Ye Chen's waist, circling around with the fragrance of milk and bursting into the nose. Hot lips chirped 3 times in a row, her cheeks were moist and hot, and she tweeted, God planned. The president's live broadcast is very supportive, and the energy drowns out the black material. She threw her mobile phone to start the live broadcast, and the microphone boomed on campus. Standing in the rain, her ponytails fluttered and her plump curves shimmered in the rain. Brothers and sisters. Gu Wan's black material is fake. Fake pictures were synthesized, and our loop of competition mirror blew up. Waiting for the preliminaries to watch her cry. Passers-by looked at the umbrellas with dilated pupils and murmured, Vitality, the president is very supportive. What a joke, poster MVP Tai Jun. Xiao Li supporter sprayed rice and danced wildly, the president is so hot. The momentum is rising. Shen Qingqing took the initiative to hold Ye Chen's face and gently rub her cheeks. The fragrance was wet with rain. Sweet and arrogant, she hummed, I'll draw the portrait of an idiot. God's face washes away the virus. Her brush strokes danced with lightning and the page was rustling in a rainstorm. Ye Chen's handsome silhouette appeared vividly. The golden eyes of his pocket watch were as insightful as a god's. The lines were so delicate that they were god-level, and the black material backfired in the plot. The old painter's mouth was O-shaped and her face was distorted and burst into tears. Sister Qingqing's portrait. Posted on the internet, Gu Wan died of acidosis. She quickly scanned the QR code to upload it, and the social media went viral. Likes rained down like crazy, and comments roared, portrait of a genius painter. Screenwriter Ye Chen, get rid of the slander. Ye Chen's inner chessboard is flying, the peak of the game, portrait plus live broadcast to warm the heart, and a night attack to search for evidence. He rushed into Gu Wan in the rain with a black windbreaker, the thunder covering his muddy and stinky footsteps, and the short, fat doorman who was the attendant, snorting heavily and flashing his mobile phone. Insight into the weakness of the LV1 lock, his birthday password change. Fake cosplay rabbit ears sneaked in, Shen Qingqing quickly painted the disguise, and the follower's eyes bulged and his nose bleeded. Rabbit ears are perverted? Ye Chen's fingertips swiped the screen to find all the evidence, traces of synthesis software, Gu Wan's sinister voice, fake pictures will trick them to death. Success. But Gu Wan suddenly saw the poisonous scent of perfume and black claws scratching his neck. Thief. During the struggle, his phone smashed to the ground and the evidence was half destroyed by the rain. Reset. For the 104th time, the perfect linkage golden light dinged. Super mission, crisis PRLV2 unlocked. Virus cleansing plus 100%, black material automatically reverses the community, and the evidence is strengthened and cannot be destroyed. Warmth surges through my mind, the evidence is automatically backed up in the cloud, and the script is expanded to 20 pages of the viral comic. He rushed back to the activity room, pushed the door, and his face was as handsome as a god. Lightning flashes illuminated his face, and he tossed his cell phone to reveal the evidence. Collect all the evidence. Crisis PR Level 2, Virus Reversal and Whitewash. Everyone's breathing stopped and pupils dilated. During Bai Ning's live broadcast, his ponytail exploded and he screamed, hugging his plump waist, pressing his breasts, bouncing breasts, sweet and explosive, spinning in circles in the rain, hot lips and earlobes, wet and hot tweets. God's night attack. God of evidence, the president supports it, and the whole school is gaining momentum. Up. The barrage of the passerbys live broadcast exploded, the Iron Army reversed. Gu Wan blew himself up. Shen Qingqing's arrogant legs fell softly, and she took the initiative to clamp her legs around Ye Chen's waist. Her fingertips, which were rich in flower fragrance, were embedded in her palms, which were hot and cold, and rubbed the portrait paper, portrait of an idiot god plus evidence, a poorly drawn fox will always win. Her blue eyes were filled with tears, and she quickly drew a composite version of the viral comic. Gu Wan's face was peeled off, and ink and blood spurted out. The backlash of the explosion was vivid and self-destructive. Shaoli, who was crazy about slimming his face, knelt down and hugged his legs and screamed, the LV2 God reward. The community was whitewashed and the momentum skyrocketed. The old painter knelt with her hands and legs weak, holding her head and bursting into tears. One person breathed out ink, Ye Chen is a god of game. Night raid to collect evidence, crisis public relations, the black material backfires on her inspiration mummy. The community where viral comics were uploaded was like a wildfire, with likes roaring through the rainy night, and comments like thunder, portrait of God. Gu Wan's perjury was exposed, Taijun MVP. The community of Gu Wan's follower Chubby collapsed and howled, Sister Wan, the evidence is destroyed. She exploded with a dark private message but her voice trembled, fake. The organizing committee suppressed it. But the momentum skyrocketed, and passers-by looked at the campus poster with their eyes widened and murmured, the portrait of Ye Chen is so handsome, the great screenwriter has whitewashed it. Black material and rubbish. Bai Ning Square's passionate speech was live broadcast, and the sound of the microphone was booming. The ponytail whip was raining and the fragrance of plump and trembling breasts was wafting. The first match of the preliminaries, the circle of competition, mirror kill. Gu Wan is waiting to explode. Shen Qingqing was there. The rustling brushstrokes refine the portrait plus viral cartoons, and the fragrance of flowers makes passers-by dizzy and weak, the bond of genius. The explosion point is 200%, and the painting is terrible. The old painter's hand speed synchronizes the rainstorm and rustling, and the warm current of morale surges like a volcano. Social fees poured into sponsor Ding Ding, and the funds exceeded 10,000. The old members all went back to dig out more testimonies of rebellion by their followers. The night shadows in the activity room receded and the lights were brightly lit. The fragrance of ink was sweet, and everyone gathered around Ye Chen and laughed in the soft heat. Shaoli knelt down in the outer circle and cheered and fist danced. The Iron Triangle plus Public Relations Level 2 are invincible. The momentum is skyrocketing. Bai Ning was unwilling to do so, spinning around in circles with plump shoulders, hot lips, and neck itching. Welfare stacks, God teammates kiss. Shen Qingqing he took the initiative to hold his face, his eyes were seductive, and his fingertips touched his lips proudly. Idiot, your portrait will last forever, the winner of the preliminaries. Ye Chen smiled lightly and was ecstatic in his heart. He won the game, the black material turned around and the club's new daily momentum was at its peak. But the thunder outside the window didn't stop, and Gu Wan's trick was to hide the thunder. In the fierce battle in the preliminaries, she used the top equipment of the organizing committee plus the ultimate black weapon. The pocket watch clacked low, counting down to the first bloody battle. The lights in the activity room burned like a blazing flame into the night. The sweet scent of ink mixed with the bitterness of coffee rushed straight into the nose, and the rustling of paper pages and the waves of cheers were like a tidal wave, pressing down on Ye Chen's shoulders with soft heat and bouncing. The white ponytail whip crackled in the air, her plump body circled and pressed hard against his breasts, her breasts were fragrant, her nose was full of heat, her hot lips were chirping and her earlobes were wet and itchy. God's night attack. The Iron Army is invincible in the first battle of the preliminaries, and the president's benefits are superimposed on kisses. Circle until dawn. Shen Qingqing's blue eyes are sultry and fiery. She actively presses her legs into her waist and puts her fingertips into her palms, rubbing them in arcs. She whispers in an arrogant and trembling voice, "Idiot, the portrait will last forever. See you in the preliminaries of the Bad Fox." Real chapter. Xiao Li's slim face was distorted and he knelt down in ecstasy, hugging his legs, fist dancing and hitting the floor. The old painter breathed out ink and burst into tears and howled, "The LV2 public relations god has made a comeback. He is the MVP of the whole school," and the black material backfires on Gu Wan's soul. Everyone burst into laughter. Ye Chen smiled lightly and the chessboard in his heart was spinning wildly. The black material bounced up slightly. The bloody battle in the preliminaries counted down. Gu Wan Yinliai's top match plus the final trump card. The pocket watch rattled his neck, and the 104th time came to an end. The midnight pendulum swirls like a black hole swallowing the sky. The world collapses and wakes up for the 105th time. The morning sun shines dazzlingly on the campus square. The crowds in the preliminaries venue are roaring like a tsunami. The air is full of sweet and sweaty popcorn, and the huge LED screen flashes the campus fantasy theme poster, The Circle of Competition, mirror image duel against Gu Wan Literary Club. Bai Ning's hot-blooded ponytail danced and led the sprint, and the plump and curvy audience bulged their eyes and breathed heavily. VP President Yuanqi. The rabbit ears cause welfare exploded, and posters were all over the campus to promote it. Shen Qingqing flicked the rabbit ears and the scent of flowers hit her nostrils, and Ye Chen, who locked eyes with cold eyes, hummed proudly, "Idiot, prepare to suppress your painting skills." Xiao Li's backup fan fist dance, old painting the trumpet of the toilet paper tube roared, "The Iron Army is at its peak." The black material reverses the championship. Ye Chen's inner inventory, Team Level 3 Tacit Understanding plus Crisis Public Relations Level 2 Cleansing, 20 pages of script expanded virus image trap to lock Gu Wan's weakness. Inspiration dries up, the main line is peaceful, the explosion point is 30%, but the on-site variables, the organizing committee equipment is equipped with hidden mines, reset and prepare for the battle. The lights inside the venue are pouring down like a star river, the judges' table is dazzling with golden light, the audience is buzzing with buzzing discussions like a honeycomb, and the fresh spray of ink in the air is filled with sweat and acid that penetrates the lungs. Gu Wan's dark belly and red lips curled up in the center of the platform. The perfume mist filled the air and the attendant's short, fat and snorting oil-spraying machine was buzzing with a giant screen 4K scanner. Her eyes were sinister and she scanned everyone. Trash Iron Army, although the black material backfires, this lady's ultimate trump card, the organizing committee's exclusive AI plagiarism detection LV5, real-time comparison of old manuscripts on the entire network, your loop of competition mirrors self-destruction. It's a joke, the main line is copied from my old there is no explosive point, the society is destroyed on the spot in the preliminaries. The audience buzzed and exclaimed, and the passers-by's pupils shrank and murmured, Gu Wan's organizing committee's network is the magic device. Is it a dead end for Taijun to gain momentum? Bai Ning's ponytail trembled slightly, his plump body clenched his fists with blood, but his voice broke, nonsense. Our original virus backlashed. Shen Qingqing's blue eyes were filled with murderous intent, and the tip of Ningbing's pen trembled. The scent of flowers faded, and his fingers pierced Ye Chen's arm flesh. Shaoli, with his slim face and waxy white face, knocked on the ground with his knees, while the old painter put his head in his hands and roared that the pages were flying around. The morale of the Iron Army collapsed instantly, and the black tide of despair swallowed up again. The pocket watch on Ye Chen's neck was as hot as a soldering iron and his heart beat wildly, for the 105th time. AI detects the weaknesses of hidden mine lock images and resets them for optimization. His throat was dry and he stood up with a heavy voice, it can't be broken. The script is reversed, Shen Qingqing's painting skills are suppressed, and Bai Ning's hosting is perfect. But Gu Wan's fox smile exploded on the giant screen, and the AI red light scanned the script rustlingly unfolded, and the main plot was too low to judge, copied, the attack is suspected to be 80%. The audience gasped and buzzed in an uproar, the Iron Army is finished. Gu Wanchen's equipment, the mirror self-destructed and failed. The judges frowned and knocked on the table, Bai Ning's tearful eyes sat down with her ponytail stuck to her neck, and Shen Qingqing's arrogant legs were soft and the pen broke and the ink sprayed out. Shaoli howled and knelt down, dead end. Failure, reset. For the 106th time, Ye Chen rubbed his fingers and roared in his heart, AI scanning quick solution. Insight Level 1 analysis, Gu Wan's old work has loopholes, and the main line of Taiping has been implanted with counter-explosive points. He optimized the storyboard Level 2 and added more details, and Shen Qingqing quickly drew the climax and refined it. However, Gu Wan's attendant at the scene manipulated the AI to tamper with the data and the red light flashed violently. The audience's eyes widened and they screamed, cheating. No, the divine equipment is irrefutable. Morale collapsed again, reset. The 107th round of gaming, Bai Ning hosts a heartwarming opening to suppress the momentum. During her hot live broadcast in the square, the microphone exploded and her ponytail flew, her plump bouncing breasts hit the audience, brothers and sisters. Gu Wan's perjury has been reversed, and the preliminaries mirror exploded to see her cry. Passers-by's pupils dilated and buzzed in support, Vitality MVP, Iron Army, come on. However, the AI detection still locked Taiping's weakness, and Gu Wan's dark claws pointed at him and mocked, hot-blooded jokes, 30% rubbish. The judges shook their heads and reset. For the 108th time, painter Shen Qingqing's Bond Level 1 activates God-level refined suppression. She painted lightning, sand, and storm, and the climax of the viral comic, Gu Wan's belly was black and skinned, and ink and blood spurted out on the paper. The audience was dizzy due to the floral mist, but the AI giant red screen judged line plagiarism, and the short and fat follower's nose spray operation was changed and reset. Waves of despair, Ye Chen is jealous for the 109th time and the chessboard in his heart is flying, linkage unlocked. Team Level 3 Division of Labor, Bai Ning hosts the heartwarming, Shen Qingqing's painting skills, and her own screenwriter assists in the L3 reversal implantation. But Gu Wan finally came up with a killer trick, a live broadcast of old scripts across the entire network, synthetic hacker implants, and the mirror script instantly became a hit with 100% plagiarism. The audience turned around in an uproar and started buzzing, Tai Jun fake original. Bai Ning's blood burst into tears while hugging his knees, and Shen Qingqing's blue eyes shattered in despair. Xiao Li knelt down and howled, reset. Continuous trial and error is like reincarnation in hell, the 110th to 114th blood and tears optimization, insight into the weakness of the LV1 lock AI backdoor birthday 888, script expansion mirror backfire AI self-destruction, storyboard optimization explosion point 200%. Crisis public relations LV2 virus bomb. The hackers were overwhelmed by the curtain. But every time Gu Wan had a dark belly and a sinister smile, the equipment buzzed and changed the verdict, the followers snorted and operated, the judges were on the verge of elimination, the club's morale was reduced to ashes, and the audience hummed and taunted like a hail of knives. The rubbish club's dirty stuff is real, Gu Wan is the champion. In despair, for the 115th time, Ye Chen's tongue was dry and his blood was dry, and he roared in his heart, the climax of the 9th cycle, sacrificing Chuan was trump card. He was handsome in a black windbreaker and pushed onto the stage. His pocket watch was gleaming with golden light and he had an insight into LV1 Extreme Scan, Gu Wan's inspiration bottleneck mummy. The main plot's peaceful climax was frivolous, and the traces of AI data tampering were backed up in the cloud. Team Level 3 enthusiasm surged wildly, Bai Ning's ponytail exploded and the host rushed to the stage with enthusiasm. Iron Army's loop of competition, mirror kill. Gu Wan perjured himself and blew himself up, the audience will wait and see. The audience's pupils shrank and buzzed, President Genki God opens. Shen Qingqing's arrogant leg stickers soft hot floral sweet pen Russell God level suppression, painting assistant level 2 refinement. Gu Wan peeled off the layers of skin, the ink blood circle exploded, the page jumped like a living creature, the audience's breath stagnant and bulging eyes, the genius painter's magical skills. The explosive point explodes, and the painting is bad. Ye Chen dumped the screenwriter LV3 and expanded it to 40 pages, and the Crisis PR LV2 viral barrage bombarded the entire network. Evidence of black material is reversed in the cloud. AI tampering is exposed. The red light of the giant screen trembled, the AI backdoor self-destructed and buzzed, Gu Wan's old works loopholes were fully locked, the mainline Taiping red judgment, 0% plagiarism backlash, Tiejuan's original explosion point 250%. The scene was as silent as a tomb. Gu Wan's belly was black and his red lips were twisting and trembling. The poisonous mist of perfume dissipated. The attendant was short and fat, his nose was bleeding and his legs were weak. He knelt down and shouted, "Sister Wan," the AI self-destructed and the evidence was destroyed. The audience erupted into a tsunami of screams and thousands of heads were buzzing with buzzing thunder. Ming, the Iron Army is against the sky. The mirror self-destructs, Gu Wan is plagiarizing rubbish. The passers-by's pupils were dilated and they were dancing wildly. Ye Chen wrote the script. Shen Qingqing's bad painting suppressed it, and Bai Ning hosted the perfect MVP. The old man on the judge's table raised his eyes. The protruding beard trembled and he stood up with a trembling knock on the table, a masterpiece. The Iron Army champion in the first battle of the preliminaries. Gu Wan's sinister eyes shattered into black holes of despair, her black-bellied body trembled and she stepped back, hitting the table. The equipment buzzed and fell to the ground. Her voice was hoarse like a ghost crying, "Impossible, the inspiration bottleneck is all exposed, you perverted circle, give up." She threw away the art club and left the stage. Her attendant was short and fat, snorting the smell of mud. The audience burst into laughter and hummed, the sinister self-explosion. The Iron Army is powerful in the universe. Jingguang Dingming's mind was racing, super mission, preliminary reversal level 4 unlocked. Creative Genius LV4, Full Talent Explosion plus 300%, script automatically expands to God level by 50 pages, painting inspiration is shared by the team, the club's national MVP fund soars by 100,000. The warm current is like a volcanic eruption, Ye Chen's heart is ecstatic and the golden light of the chessboard, the ninth cycle is extremely exciting, and all the trump cards are open. The lights of the venue poured down like a champion's star shower, the sweet fragrance of ink filled the nostrils with sweat and tears of victory, and everyone rushed to the stage and the heat wave was on their shoulders. Xiao Li's slim face twisted and he knelt down and hugged his legs, howling and fist dancing, level 4 God reward. The Iron Triangle is invincible, the preliminaries champion universe. The old painter's hands and legs were weak, he held his head and burst into tears, and his nose burst into tears and sprayed ink, Ye Chen's God game. The reset and optimization are unbelievable, Gu Wan was shocked and admitted defeat. Bai Ning's ponytail whip crackled in the air and bounced plumply. Turning in circles, squeezing her breasts, the sweetness is bursting, and her hot lips and kisses on her cheeks and ears are so wet and itchy that she spins 10 times, God's trump card. The President's Welfare Carnival kisses her until the finals, and the hot-blooded ambiguity is off the charts. Thousands of people in the outer circle of the audience screamed and buzzed around the stage, MVP Iron Army. Rabbit ear costs, extra welfare, national support. Shen Qingqing's blue eyes were brimming with tears. She took the initiative to hug her with her legs wrapped around her waist. Her fingertips were hot and embedded in her neck, rubbing her lips and rubbing her lips. Her arrogant voice trembled close to her ears, idiot, God-level suppression. A bad painting will always win. Kiss my forehead to bind me. Ye Chen smiled lightly and felt warm in his heart. He lowered his head and kissed her forehead softly. The soft and hot floral scent was as sweet as honey. His blue eyes instantly melted into spring water and seduced her soul. The passers-by around them bulged their eyes and breathed heavily and murmured, Genius CP kiss. The sweetest peak of the Iron Triangle. The club carnival was filled with laughter, the pages rustled like colorful butterflies, the funds reached 100,000 yuan in sponsorship, and the team was named the national MVP. But the sunset outside the window was blood red, and the shadow of the powerful enemy in the final flashed on the giant screen, the legendary Imperial Capital Society, Phantom Workshop, and the black-robed leader's eyes swept across the abyss. The ticking of the pocket watch intensifies, the heat wave of the curse burns the neck like an iron chain strangling the soul, and the countdown to the decisive battle in the sea of blood. The setting sun was blood red like a dragon-slain blade, the remaining heat wave in the venue was hot and the fragrance of ink mixed with sweat, joy, and tears went straight into the nose. The audience was roaring with tens of thousands of people, the buzzing thunder was pressing on the eardrums, and the colorful butterflies flying on the paper were cheering like a tsunami. Bai Ning is plump, the heat wave is still pressing on the shoulders, the ponytail is sticky, the neck is sticky, the milk is sweet and bursting, Shen Qingqing has blue eyes, the aftertaste of the spring water is soft, the legs are soft and the fragrance of flowers is wrapped around the waist, and the crowd is laughing, punching and dancing, and the legs are trembling. Xiao Li's thin face was distorted, he knelt down and hugged him and howled, Cosmic MVP. In the finals, Phantom Workshop's Black Robe Abyss, the Iron Army's trump cards are all used to kill the gods. The old painter sprayed ink from his nose and held his head, the LV4 genius is shared, Gu Wan's corpse is still hot, and the powerful enemy in the imperial capital is preparing for a bloody battle. Ye Chen smiled lightly as the golden light swirled on the chessboard in his heart, the preliminaries bounced off extremely well, and the 115th time ended perfectly, but in the finals, a hidden shadow in black robes swept across the abyss, and the pocket watch clacked like a ghost crying. The iron chain strangled the neck and burned the soul, midnight reset, the 116th time, and the 10th cycle started. The world disintegrated, a black hole swallowed the sky, and the bright morning sun filled the comic club activity room. The residual bitterness of coffee and the fresh spray of ink sandwiched the pages of paper. Outside the window, the campus crowd buzzed and talked about the preliminaries. God reversed the viral barrage. MVP of the entire network, the Iron Army mirror self-destructed Gu Wan's corpse. Kill the Phantom in the finals. Bai Ning tail flying, plump curves, hot-blooded rush to the door, milk-scented face, fist hit the table, bang bang, brothers. 100,000 rain poured in for the champion of the preliminaries. All the old members returned and followed the rebel testimonies to lock Gu Wan's black hole, prepare for the final campus fantasy-themed masterpiece. The black-robed leader of the Imperial City Phantom Workshop, the best actor, consecutive champions across the country. The 3-year inspiration black hole swallows the soul. The script AI generates god-level storyboards and is invincible, and our lineup universe also helps small troubles get stuck. Shen Qingqing's blue eyes are cold and soul-stirring, the rabbit ears cause has an elegant lingering floral fragrance, and the tip of the pen trembles proudly. Ye Chen, share your painting skills to suppress LV4. Phantom's old work explodes. 400%, the legend of the god of inspiration is hidden, and we are in danger if the main line is peaceful. Xiao Li's slim face, waxy knees, fisted and danced, while the old painter held his head and roared. The paper tube loudspeaker was buzzing. The sponsor, the old fox, lowered the price. The social fee of 100,000 is not enough for the hot spring camp's creative benefits, and the final equipment is too high for blood transfusion. Ye Chen's pocket watch on his neck was slightly hot, and he took stock of his heart. In the 116th cycle of the 10th cycle, the creative genius LV4 bursts out plus 300% warm current rushes into his mind, and the golden light dings. New mission unlocked. Finals preparation LV5, unearth the secrets of clocks, compose the masterpiece, the legend of the loop clock. Easily solve the sponsorship crisis, reward, fragments of the god of creation plus team bond LV4, infinite sharing of inspiration, eternal burning of morale. The welfare hot spring camp is automatically opened. He stood up with a smile and said with a heavy hammer, we can't collapse. First suppress the remnants of Gu Wan's counterattack, kick the small problem of sponsorship, and I will dig out the secrets of the clock. But outside the door, there was a sinister wind and poisonous fog. Gu Wan's belly was black and his red lips were twisted and trembling, and the smell of perfume residue was mixed with mud. The short, fat, nosebleed mummy of the follower was dragging, the black holes in her eyes were broken, and she was hoarse and crying. Ye Chen is in a perverted circle. The self-destruction of the AI in the preliminaries revealed all the inspiration bottlenecks, and the black material is backed up in the cloud forever. We, the corpse of the literary club, also summoned the Imperial Capital Actors Black Robe Alliance. In the finals, a synthesized old draft LV10 hacker was implanted. The old fox, the sponsor, has bribed the price to cut off the blood, and your Iron Army's momentum in the universe has been destroyed. The dead silence in the society was chilly, and the audience and passers-by on the campus were buzzing in an uproar. Gu Wan the Phantom. Sponsored by Crisis, the Iron Army collapses. Bai Ning's ponytail trembled slightly, his plump body clenched his fists with blood, and burst into pieces. The black-bellied corpse is not dead. Shen Qingqing's arrogant legs softened, her blue eyes were filled with ice, and the scent of flowers faded away, and her fingers pierced Ye Chen's arm flesh and stung. Xiao Li howled and knelt down in wax white, while the old painter's paper pages flew everywhere and he held his head in despair. The morale of the Iron Army was instantly reduced to ashes, swallowed up by the black tide. Ye Chen's pocket watch was burned and his heart beat wildly. Gu Wan Yulei plus Phantom Shadow, the 116th trial and error, reset and optimize. The midnight black hole swallows it again, the 117th time it wakes up and the sun is dazzling. Ye Chen roars in his heart and the chessboard flips. Insight into the weakness of the LV1 lock Gu Wan Alliance. The black hole inspired by the actor relies on the backdoor to sponsor the old fox's birthday 666. The division of labor in the team at level 3 was warm. He dumped the script. The screenwriter at level 3 automatically expanded the synopsis of The Legend of the Loop Clock to 20 pages. The Crisis Public Relations Level 2 viral barrage bombarded the entire network and exposed the old fox's black material and synthesized it into Gu Wanzhou's voice. The alliance is destroyed, and the Iron Army MVP funds double. Bai Ning enthusiastically hosted the live broadcast with flying ponytails, plump bouncing breasts and fragrant milk. The audience said, "Vitality Welfare Rabbit Ears Cos. Sponsored rain is coming. Shen Qingqing's brush strokes are divinely detailed and the secret mirror of the clock is shared. The painting skills are level 4 and the ink blood circle jumps on the paper." The audience's breath stops. But the sponsor, the old fox, made a phone call and lowered the price with a sinister smile. 100,000 is the top price, no need to talk about the hot spring camp. Gu Wan's follower, Chubby Nasal Spray, was buzzing with hackers, and the old draft was synthesized and flashed on the giant screen. Passers-by's pupils shrank and they were buzzing. The Iron Army's sponsorship is cut off, and the Phantom is invincible. Morale collapsed, reset. The 118th time the wave was in despair, Ye Chen was red-eyed and tongue-tied, the linkage increased the amount. He was handsome in a black trench coat and pushed open the door to the sponsor's office. His pocket watch with golden light flashed and he saw the limit of the old fox's inspiration bottleneck plus Gu Wan's alliance cloud traces. He dumped the Crisis Public Relations LV2 evidence USB flash drive and smashed it on the table. All the black materials are locked, and the back door blew up on his birthday. Exposed. The old fox's chubby face was distorted, his sweaty nose was bulging, his eyes were bulging, and he was trembling. Impossible. Gu Wan promised the blessing of the actor's black robe. How did you know the back door? Ye Chen smiled lightly and had a golden light in his heart. Level 4 Genius Automatic Analysis plus 100%. The old fox knelt down on his knees, snorting and howling. The sponsorship is doubled by 200,000 yuan. The top equipment of the hot spring camp is fully covered, and the Iron Army MVP is national. The white ponytail in the club exploded, the blood rushed into his arms, the plump breasts were pressed, and the sweetness of the milk exploded. God negotiates. But the shadow of Gu Wan's black claws flashed in his belly, and the Alliance hacker implanted the final preheating poster to synthesize the old draft, and passers-by on campus buzzed and turned against each other. Iron Army sponsored the fake original. Reset. Serial Hell, the 119th to 122nd Blood and Tears optimization. The storyboard LV2 blast point is implanted into the clock secret to backfire on the actor's black hole. The painter's bond LV1 activates Shen Qingqing's magic pen sharing, the team LV3 automatically divides labor, the old painter publicist Shaoli broadcasts the virus. But every time the Phantom Workshop's black robe hides the giant shadow as the curtain fell, Gu Wan's remnant, the nosebleed manipulator, hacked and changed his sentence, and the old fox of sponsorship hesitated and hesitated. The morale of the club was ashes. Passers-by laughed at the knife rain. Phantom consecutive hegemony, Iron Army sponsorship bubble. Under the dark tide, for the 123rd time, Ye Chen roared like a beast in his heart, the climax of the 10th cycle, the secret of the whole watch. The pocket watch rattled wildly and the golden light exploded in my mind. Unlock the legend of the god of creation, the soul seal of the ancient clockmaker, infinite reset to accumulate talent fragments, break the curse and open the divine realm. The finals to kill the actor requires the masterpiece, the legend of the loop clock. The mirror self explodes into a black hole. Warm current volcanic eruption creative genius level 4 limit. He threw out 50 pages of god-level scripts to open the activity room. The script automatically expanded the virus loop trap to lock the actor's inspiration mummy. The mainline black hole piece explosion rate is only 20%. Gu Wan's alliance peeled off the skin and self-destructed with blood. The Team LV4 bond has a warm current, and the white condensed ponytail whip is full and plump in the air. The hot-blooded host hosts the live broadcast of The Legend of the Loop Clock, and the whole school, Tai Jun's Legend of the Loop Clock, is a warm-up. The Phantom's black robe self-destructs to look at the corpse, and the rabbit ears costs explode in the sponsorship of the welfare hot spring camp. The audience's pupils in the school dilated and buzzed with a warm tsunami. Vitality MVP God promotion. Shen Qingqing's arrogant blue eyes, fiery legs, soft hot floral fragrance, sweet brushes, lightning, sand and storm wind, painting sharing LV4 refined clock, golden light circle, swallowing black robe, ink and blood spurting out on the paper like a living thing. Passers-by's breath stopped and their eyes bulged and roared. Genius painter's magical skill suppress. Explosion. 400% explosion, bad actor. Xiao Li's thin face was distorted. He knelt down, hugged his legs, sprayed rice, fisted and danced, and the old painter sprayed ink from his nose and burst into tears. The secret of the clock is incredible. The team is invincible. Ye Chen screenwriter assistant LV3 crisis public relations LV2 linkage, the viral barrage bombarded the entire network plus campus giant screen. Gu Wan alliance hacker self-destruction in the cloud. Old Fox's backdoor is exposed, sponsoring 200,000 plus hot spring top-notch products. The giant screen in the sponsor's office, Old Fox, trembled with red light, and the backdoor collapsed and buzzed. His fat face was shaking with sweat and his legs were weak, crying, "Iron Army God evidence." The funds are doubled by 300,000, the equipment benefits are fully opened, and the Phantom Alliance is cut off. The poisonous mist of Gu Wan's black perfume burst outside the door, her red lips twisted and her black eyes shattered into flames of despair. The attendant was short and fat, with nosebleeds spraying wildly. Her legs were weak and she dragged herself against the door. The smell of mud sprayed out. She was hoarse and her claws and fingers were trembling. Perverted circle. You dug up the clock legend, hacker planted it. If it becomes invalid, the actor in black robe will not believe me. Thousands of passers-by on campus gathered, their pupils shrunk, and they burst into screams and roars of thunder. The remnant of Gu Wan blew himself up. The masterpiece of Iron Army clocks, sponsored by the Heavy Rain MVP universe. The old fox snorted. He squirted and worshipped and crawled on his knees. God, Ye Chen has insight into the negotiation. Lock the back door and I will always be loyal. Bai Ning's hot-blooded eyes are bulging and plump, bouncing around and pressing Ye Chen's shoulders, and her milk is sweet and bursting. God's trump card. The president's welfare kiss increases. Shen Qingqing's blue eyes are filled with tears. With her legs wrapped around her waist, the fragrance of flowers is strong, her fingertips are burning, and she rubs her lips, rubs her arrogant ear. Idiot, you will always win if you don't paint well, and the bonding kiss will be deep. Xiao Li howled, his legs were weak, and the old painter held his head and burst into tears. The 10th cycle is so exciting. The finals will kill the gods. Jin Guangdingming's mind was racing with, super mission, finals preparation level 5 unlocked. God of creation fragment +1, talent is infinite forever, reset fragments cumulatively break the curse by 50%, team bond level 4, black hole sharing of inspiration, morale realm, club funds exceed 300,000 plus hot spring camp automatically opens. Ye Chen's heart was filled with ecstasy as the chessboard glowed with golden light. The sponsorship crisis was easily kicked away. Gu Wan's corpse was ashes and he surrendered, and the phantom black robe concealed thunder warmed up. Everyone piled on the heat wave and laughed, and the pages were flying. They transferred to the hot spring bus and took the hot spring bus. The heat wave was scalding and the sulfur scent was tangy. The mist was steaming and white. The rabbit ears and Koss white ponytail was wet and plump. The water droplets slid down and bounced in the milky scent. The mist was sweet. She complained about the nosebleeds of Ye Chen with her red lips and hooked finger, fool's nosebleed benefit. The climax of the hot spring creative camp painting, the legend of the loop clock, the hot-blooded ambiguity exploded and even peaked at the table. Shen Qingqing's arrogant blue, the mist in the eyes seduces the soul, the scent of flowers on the edge of the pool, the wet hot brush rustling and refining the golden light circle. Idiot, share the magic skills, draw a kiss on the forehead of the bad movie king. Xiao Li sprayed rice bubbles, and the old painter sprayed ink bubbles on his hands and nose to worship. Welfare universe. 50 pages of masterpiece automatically divine level. The creative inspiration exploded in the hot spring spray, the heat wave and laughter, the script storyboard rustling superimposed the explosion point of 500%, and the morale of the club was burning. Optimized overnight, the activity room was lit up all night, and the aroma of ink, sweat, and bitter coffee mixed into an oppressive fog. Ye Chen reset the test storyboard for the 97th time. One time it went too far. Shen Qingqing's tsundra collapsed and her face was white with ink paste. Her ponytail was wet and plump and swollen. She screamed, "Abnormal ink bath." Despair pressed again, the 98th perfect linkage, the golden light dinged, super mission progress, storyboard optimization LV2 unlocked. The explosion rate is plus 100%, and the black material will be automatically implanted. Warmth surged wildly, the script in his mind automatically expanded, and Gu Wan's weaknesses were all locked. The mist of the hot spring is as white as a sea of clouds in a fairyland, the sulfur heat wave is hot and tangy, mixed with the sweet fragrance of milk and flowers, the waves patter the stone wall beside the pool, the night wind whispers, and the shadows of the tall trees sway ghostly in the dark moon. Ye Chen soaked in the middle of the hot pool, with the golden light pulsing faintly like his heart beating wildly as the pocket watch hung around his neck. The whisper in the abyss of the black robe in his mind echoed in his eardrums, "Fragments, blood sea slaying gods, cursed forever." The chessboard in his heart trembled and the golden light shattered, the fragment of the god of creation +1. Talent is permanent, but there are only 3 resets left. The 11th cycle starts, a single game, Gu Wan plus the black hole of the best actor, one wrong step and the society is destroyed. A black hole swallowed the sky at midnight, and I woke up for the 125th time. The dazzling sunlight filled the wooden house of the hot spring camp, the fresh ink spray mixed with the bitter scent of coffee rustled the paper pages, and the clear and crisp chirping of birds outside the window warmed up the heat wave of the finals in the distant campus. The white ponytail is wet and stuck to the back of the neck. The plump curves of the water droplets are sliding down and bouncing. The rabbit ears cos headdress is crooked and the red lips are complaining. The milky fragrance is blowing in the face and the fist is hitting the wooden table, idiot Chen. Last night's inspiration exploded. The Legend of the Loop Clock, storyboard optimization LV2 overlay 60 pages, the explosive 600% virus trap locked up the actor, but Gu Wan was still full of evil spirits. He sponsored the old fox to make a phone call and smiled sinisterly to get the last benefit. The hot spring camp was extended for 3 days or the blood would be cut off. Shen Qingqing's blue eyes are misty and arrogant, her legs are soft and the fragrance of flowers is hot and humid. The tip of the pen quivered and rustled, refining the golden light circle of the clock, idiot. I share the level 4 limit of painting skills. I can't draw the black robe but the main line is 20% of the hidden thunder. She has failed as a hacker in the Alliance and dares to do something dirty. The old painter sprayed ink bubbles from his nose and held his head and roared loudly, with 24 hours left until the finals start, the black hole of inspiration for the actor's old work is warming up and suppressed by the entire network. Gu Wan's follower, the nosebleed corpse, sneaks into the camp and implants the final draft. Morale is trembling. The mist inside the company is steaming and deathly silent, and outside the door is filled with a sinister wind and poisonous mist filled with mud and smelly perfume mixed with perfume residue. Gu Wan's belly is black and her red lips are twisted and trembling. Her black eyes are shattered into will-o'-the-wisps. The attendant is short, fat, with a bloody nose, and his legs are limp. He drags and bangs against the door, and her claws are embedded in the wooden door. The hoarse ghost cry, Ye Chen's abnormal circle. You dig up all the clock legends, and the hackers from my literary club are the best to implant them into the final draft. The actor in black robe personally teaches AI storyboard LV10. The black hole swallows your Iron Army-inspired mummy, hot spring the camp's benefits have been cut off, and the old fox has bribed him to overturn the situation. I'll see your corpse with my own eyes on the eve of the destruction of the society. Passers-by at the camp watched with shrunken pupils, buzzing, and making a tsunami of uproar. Gu Wan sneaked into the hot spring. Iron Army god made warm-up foam, phantom black robes. Invincible serial tyrant. Bai Ning's ponytail trembled slightly, her plump body clenched her fists with hot blood, and the sound of cracking milk faded away. The nigger in the belly is not going to die, the last fight. Shen Qingqing's arrogant legs were weak, her blue eyes were filled with murderous intent, and the scent of flowers was intermittent, and her fingers were embedded in Ye Chen's arm flesh and stung. Xiao Li howled and knelt down and sprayed white rice. The old painter's paper pages flew everywhere and he held his head in despair. The morale of the Iron Army was instantly reduced to ashes, and the black tide swallowed it up again. Ye Chen's pocket watch burned and his heart beat wildly and his heart roared. Single cycle to the bottom, accumulated talents are fully activated. Gu Wan turns to the ally key. He stood up with a smile and his voice was heavy. The wooden house was buzzing, and the creative genius level 4 warm volcano surged into his mind with golden light. Crisis insight level 1 limit. Gu Wan's inspiration bottleneck black hole was 80% broken. The actor relied on hackers to implant a backdoor and turned to allies to unlock the team level 5 bond black hole sharing. Ye Chen dumps crisis public relations LV2. The USB flash drive smashed at Gu Wan's feet, and the viral barrage automatically expanded her synthesized old manuscript. The self-destructed picture jumped out of the giant wooden screen. The cloud of the dark-bellied alliance is completely locked, and the actor's black-robed voice is exposed. Gu Wan's remnants are useless, and the mirror image of the Iron Army clock backfires on my inspiration. The old fox's back door has been locked in Yongzhong, and the hot springs have been extended and the equipment has been doubled. Gu Wan's red lips trembled with black holes in her pupils. The pores were enlarged with sweat and smelly, the legs were weak, the claws were trembling, and 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 the hands were trembling, and the hands were snorting loudly. Impossible, pervert, how can you hack my hacker in advance? In the words of the best actor, my bottleneck is all exposed, the alliance is dead. The follower, a short, fat nosebleed, fell to the ground with weak legs, howling in worship, his eyes bulged and twisted, and his voice broke. The boss lady turns the wheel. The Iron Army MVP has insight, the synthesis fails and we rebel. The white ponytail explodes with hot blood, plump and pressing Gu Wan's shoulders, sweet and explosive breasts, and dances in circles. The dark-bellied girl surrenders and becomes a full-time official. The Iron Triangle expands the army, hot spring welfare sharing rabbit ears cos explode. Shen Qingqing, blue eyes, hot and arrogant humming, legs wrapped around Gu Wan's waist, floral fragrance wrapped around the tip of the pen, sharing painting skills LV4, idiot Gu Wan, he painted his own black hole, and joined the circle of drawing to swallow the movie king. Xiao Li's thin face was distorted, he knelt and hugged Gu Wan's legs, sprayed rice and danced with his fists, and the old painter burst into tears and held his head in the paper tube and roared, transfer to the Alliance universe. Crisis public relations god level, morale god realm explodes. Thousands of passers-by in the camp exploded. Head throbbing, pupils shrunk, screams buzzing, thunderous tsunami, Gu Wan kneels down to the Iron Army. Invincible warm-up for the masterpiece, the phantom black robe explodes to see the corpse. Gu Wan's belly was black and his red lips curved, tears flashed and the fire turned warm, his eyes trembled and he stood up, his paws took the initiative to hold Ye Chen's hand, and the poisonous mist of perfume became sweet. Perverted genius in the circle, I join. The screenwriter assists the level 3 linkage, peels off all the black information from my old alliance, and kills the best actor in the finals. The heat wave in the company is overwhelming, the pages are flying with laughter, the mist is steaming, the warm current of the team's level 4 bond is surging, and the level 5 black hole is shared, and the golden light of inspiration is endlessly blasting in everyone's mind. The golden light of Ye Chen's inner chessboard swirled, a single cycle was extremely exciting, perfect for the 125th time, and Gu Wanzhuan's allies opened up all their cards. In a low voice, he directed the creative storm of Sha Sha in the divided wooden house. The legend of the loop clock has finally completed 70 pages, screenwriter LV3 plus painter bond LV1 are fully activated, the black hole explosion point of the main plot has increased by 800%, and the virus trap mirror has been exploding the mummy of the movie king. Bai Ning's hot-blooded host's brushes and flying ponytail whip are smacking in the air. The plump and bouncing milk-scented live broadcast is viral. The whole network, the final version of the Iron Army masterpiece. Gu Wan becomes a full-time rabbit ear cos linkage, hot spring inspiration black hole sharing MVP universe. The audience on the campus giant screen stopped breathing and bulged their eyes, shouting, President Genki's propaganda. 800% bad painting consecutive victory, Phantom Corpse. Shen Qingqing's arrogant blue eyes bare legs stick to Ye Chen's soft hot floral fragrance and rich brush lightning the storm refined the clock secret, the golden light swirled around, swallowed the black robe, and the ink and blood jumped on the paper, like a living creature. Idiot Chen, share the magic skills to win forever, kiss the forehead more deeply. She took the initiative to stand on tiptoe and put red lips on Ye Chen's forehead. The water mist was smooth, sweet and stinging. Shaoli sprayed rice with bubbles and his legs softly worshipped, and the old painter sprayed ink bubbles with his hands and nose and howled. Storyboard optimization LV2 automatically superimposes, screenwriter Gu Wan peels off black materials and implants traps invincibly. Gu Wan's dark belly turned into a vitality, red lips curved, her fingertips swiped fierily on Ye Chen's palm, the sweet perfume, assistant screenwriter LV3, Sha expanded the script, viral circle, abnormal, all my old hackers turned into iron troops, the actor's back door was locked, the explosive point went straight to 10-0%. In the midst of the hot spring, 70 pages of god-level masterpieces were automatically unfolded as the pages rustled, the ink fountain and colorful butterflies were buzzing, and the explosive rate skyrocketed. The black hole of inspiration shared the golden light in everyone's mind, and the creative genius level 4 was everlasting. The passers-by at the camp watched with dilated pupils, buzzing and warming, roaring like a tsunami. Gu Wanshan has transferred to the Alliance. Tiejuan's full talent suppressed him, and he will be the MVP of the god-killing universe in the finals. Sponsored Old Fox's phone was red and trembling, his fat face was twisted, his sweaty smell filled the air, his legs were weak and he knelt down howling. Worship, Ye Chen's team. The funds are doubled by 500,000, the hot spring camp is permanently equipped with top-notch benefits plus nationwide tour benefits, and the phantom black robe is forever broken. The heavy rain of social fees poured into the buzz, all the old members returned to follow the followers and rebelled, and the momentum of the army soared to the sky. Jingguang Dingming's mind exploded, super task final preparations level 5 completed, God of Creation shards +2, talent is infinite. Reset fragments cumulatively break the curse by 80%, unlocked in a single cycle game, team bonding LV5, infinite sharing of black holes of inspiration, morale god realm eternal burning plus transfer to allies buff. Welfare nationwide tour automatically started, painting assistance LV3, storyboard optimization LV3, crisis public relations LV3 fully upgraded. Ye Chen's heart was filled with ecstasy as the chessboard's golden light swirled. 80% of the clock's curse was loosened, Gu Wan turned positive to resolve the remaining thunder, and the phantom black robe concealed thunder warmed up for the bloody battle. Everyone laughs in the heat wave, the mist evaporates, and the pages are fluttering with colorful butterflies. The hot spring waves slap with a sweet trio of milky, flowery and perfume. The plump Bai Ning turns around and presses Ye Chen's shoulders. The rabbit ears shake and the red lips kiss with extra milk. The sweetness bursts out, idiot nosebleed benefits the universe. The opening of the 70-page final of the masterpiece explodes, and the hot-blooded ambiguous kiss group is in full swing. Shen Qingqing hugged her legs and held her waist with blue-eyed water mist seducing flowers. Fragrant and hot fingertips touched her lips and rubbed her arrogant ears. Idiot, a bad painting will always win, and a bonding kiss will melt the iron pentagon. Gu Wan's black and red lips came close to the perfume's sweet paws and hooked her neck, whispering, perverted genius, turn into a full-time welfare and kiss your forehead in return. The aftertaste of creation in the soothing heat wave, the ink-scented coffee in the wooden house whispers the bittersweet paper rustling, the 5 members of the team push each other in the waves and laugh while soaking in the pool, the bunny ears cos headdress is crooked, the water drops slide down the curve and bounce, the black hole of inspiration shares the golden light and the warm current in the mind is forever. Ye Chen smiled lightly and stroked his pocket watch, and the low chirping turned softer. There are only 2 resets left, the curse is on the verge, and the finals of the bloody sea of slaying gods are imminent. The blood-red sunset sprinkles the golden waves of the hot spring, and the campus giant screen warms up. The whole network is buzzing with the virus, the final masterpiece of Qiejuan's, the legend of the loop clock. Gu Wan becomes the full-time MVP, and the phantom black robe-inspired mummies look at the corpse. The morale realm is burning forever, and the club paradise is reborn. But on the eve of the finals, the hot spring camp was full of dark winds and the pocket watch was clicking and muttering wildly. Golden light exploded like a river of stars. The phantom in his mind, a black robe with abyss eyes scanning the soul, whispered, "Fragments of the clock, the sea of blood in the finals, the god of creation descended to kill the gods." Ye Chen's inner chessboard trembled, the curse was loosened, the countdown was reset, and he was preparing for the bloody battle for the 124th time. The lights of the venue were dazzling like thousands of lightning bolts. The air was buzzing and scorching. The smell of ink, the sweaty heat, the sweetness of popcorn, and the thunder of heartbeats hit the nostrils. Thousands of people were moving in black and the tsunami screamed loudly. The giant screen exploded with colorful split shots, swallowing up the field of vision like a dancing living creature. The opening bell of the National College Cartoon Competition Finals rang loudly and the hammer smashed into the soul. The old foxes on the judges' bench were snoring heavily and bulging their eyes. They were whispering and crying, "Phantom Workshop has won 3 consecutive times in an invincible black hole of inspiration, and the virus warm-up bubble of the Iron Army hot spring camp will burst immediately." Passers-by and fans, with their pupils shrunk and needles, buzzed in an uproar. Gu Wan has turned into a traitor. A 70-page masterpiece made by clockwork, and the best actor in black robe personally kills the gods. The black-robed actor stepped onto the main stage, his abyssal eyes blazing, the iron chain strangled his neck, and his eardrums buzzed with his low voice. The old work, Black Hole, jumped out of the giant screen and sprayed blood and ink into the sky. The explosion rate soared to 900%. The viral barrage flooded the internet and the Iron Army warmed up, Clown Society, Clock Fragment Delusion. The Blood Sea Curse will lock your mummy forever. The whole place was dead silent. Thousands of people fell to the ground with weak knees and howled. The morale of the Iron Army was instantly reduced to ashes. The white ponytail trembled and the plump curves were sweaty and bouncing. The bunny ears cos headdress was crooked. The red lips were bitten and the milk was fragrant. He punched the seat and bang bang, the black-bellied actor is the last black hole. Can't we suppress our 70-page optimization LV3 full activation? Shen clear blue eyes, mist with murderous intent, arrogant legs, soft floral fragrance, cracked pen tip, fingers embedded in Ye Chen's arm flesh, stinging, tears flashing, idiot Chen, sharing the L4 limit of painting skills, black robe, ink and blood jumping on the paper, swallowing our golden light alive. Gu Wan's red lips twisted and trembled, perfume, poisonous mist, residue, black holes, eyes shattered into ghosts, hams, soft kneeling paws. The scratches on the ground were harsh. Isn't it enough for me to peel off all the black materials? The actor personally taught me the back door to attack my old alliance, and the final synthesis draft self-destructed and failed. Xiao Li's slimming face, waxy white spray, rice bubbles, legs weak, fell to the ground and howled, the old painter's nose, ink fountain, holding his head, the paper tube trumpet buzzing in despair, the god's realm collapsed. The black hole swallowing the sky, the Iron Army corpse. The chessboard in Ye Chen's heart trembles with golden light and shatters. The black robes shatter and the abyss whispers. The eardrums buzz, the climax of the 11th cycle. A single blow in a single game. There are only 2 resets left. The fragments of the god of creation accumulate to 80% and are on the verge of being cursed. He stood up with a slight smile and his voice was heavy. The hammer shook the venue. His pocket watch hung around his neck and the golden light pulsed wildly like a heart bursting. The creative genius LV4 warm volcano surged in his mind. Crisis Insight LV1 Limit plus Opponent Insight LV1 fully open, the black hole of inspiration for the best actor relied on Gu Wanzhou's 80% bottleneck, the virus loop trap image self-destructed and locked the mummy, and the Team LV5 Fetter's black hole shared the backlash. Come on. Ye Chen whispered one word like thunder, and the whole audience was shocked. The 5 members of the Taijun rushed out, white blood, ponytail whip, air crackle, plump shoulder-pressing breasts, sweet and explosive rabbit ears, and the live broadcast started a viral barrage rebound. The Taijun masterpiece is the finale. Gu Wan became the MVP, and the 70-page explosive point of the clock story went straight to 1000% slaughter of the black robe. Shen Qingqing Ao Jiao flutters with her legs tucked around her waist, blue eyes with fiery floral fragrance, wet and hot brushes with lightning, rustling and refining the golden light circle. Idiot, share the magical skills and win forever, paint him to death with ink blood. Gu Wan's belly, black red lips, curved claws hook Ye Chen's neck, sweet perfume, assistant screenwriter LV3, rustling expanded script, perverted genius, I am a hacker turned into an iron army, the back door is locked and self-destructs. The final god-level masterpiece of The Legend of the Loop Clock exploded on the giant screen, with 70 pages automatically unfolding and ink-colored butterflies flying and buzzing on the paper. The black hole explosion points skyrocketed by 800% and 1000%. The virus trap image backfired on the actor's old work. The golden light of the clock circled and swallowed the black-robed and ink-blooded mummy. The screen exploded all over the internet. The actor's abyss-like pupils were dilated, the iron chains were shattered, clanking ghosts were crying, his legs were weak, his knees were weak, his sweaty black robe was torn, and his bones were exposed. Impossible. Gu Wan's remnant's back door is reversed. My inspiration is a black hole, a mummy. The whole audience was crowded with shrunken pupils, screams, buzzing, thunder, and tsunami. Nguyen roared, the god of Iron Army is reversed. The clock is said to be 1000% bad, and he is the best actor in a row. The judge, the old fox, with his chubby face and twisted sweat, snorted and stopped, with bulging eyes, worshipped and howled, the masterpiece of creative genius LV4. God-level script expansion, storyboard optimization LV3 automatic superposition, crisis public relations level 3 whitewashed the national MVP, the Iron Army won the universe. The white ponytail exploded with hot blood, circling and pressing Ye Chen's shoulders, bouncing breasts, sweet and explosive fist dance, idiot's nosebleed is the ultimate benefit. God is killing the gods, and the hot-blooded and ambiguous family group explodes. Shen Qingqing's blue eyes are filled with mist and soul-stirring pride. She stood on tiptoe and kissed Ye Chen deeply with her red lips, her lips were slippery, sweet and stinging, and the warmth melted away. Idiot Chen, he will always win if he paints badly, and the iron 5-pointed kiss will melt the spring water. Gu Wan's red lips came close to her claws and hooked her neck, and she kissed her sweet and greasy forehead and whispered, pervert. I will be rewarded by becoming a full-time employee, and the screenwriter will collaborate with God of Killing for benefits. Xiao Li's slim face twisted and he knelt down and hugged his legs, sprayed rice, bubble-punched and danced. The old painter sprayed ink from his nose and burst into tears, holding his head and holding a paper tube and yelling, the final god's realm explodes. The Team LV5 black hole shares invincibility, morale is forever burning. Gu Wan's follower rebelled and sprayed nosebleeds, his legs went limp and he fell to the ground in worship, the boss lady turned the wheel. Iron Army. MVP Universe, all the corpses of the Best Actor Alliance. Passers-by and fans roared with a tsunami, heavy breathing and sweaty heat waves were superimposed. The giant screen voting rainstorm buzzed and the Iron Army rushed straight to 99.9% to suppress the Phantom Workshop mummies by 0.1%. The championship gold cup hit the stage with a golden light, ink-scented coffee, bittersweet paper rustling to celebrate the storm. Sponsored the old fox's phone was red and trembling, his fat legs were limp, he knelt down and received 1 million blood transfusions, crying, the Iron Army will be touring the country forever. Hot Spring Camp plus Campus Paradise is rebuilt, and the God of Creation is coming. Jin Guangdingming's mind burst with excitement. Complete super task final god slaughter level 6, god of creation fragments +3, talent is infinite, reset fragment accumulation is 100%, clock curse is completely broken, ancient clockmaker's soul seal is fully unlocked, team bond LV6, inspiration black hole unlimited sharing plus national MVP buff. Morale god realm eternal burning universe, painting talent LV5, screenwriting genius LV5, crisis public relations LV4 fully upgraded, social fees skyrocketed by 1 million plus tour benefits are automatically opened. The golden vortex of the chessboard in Ye Chen's heart exploded into the universe, the 125th cycle ended perfectly, the 11th cycle bounced with great joy, and the clock curse shattered. The pocket watch murmured softly, then shimmered with soft golden light, and the ancient clockmaker's old voice echoed in my mind as warmly as a father's, "Boy, the fragments have returned to their places, and the legend of the God of creation has come true. Infinite reset is not a curse, but a trial, to save a dying society and transform into a dish. The genius of the bird is bound to the Iron Army forever. A new chapter, there is no loop in reality, and the legend will be continued with accumulated talents. The clock automatically disintegrates and the gold powder falls on the neck to create a talisman that pulses forever, resets the countdown and disappears, and the timeline is permanently fixed in the first ending." The whole place was bursting with heat and laughter as they celebrated, the paper pages were buzzing with colorful butterflies, the milky floral perfume was in the sweet trio, the cosplay trio with rabbit ears was crooked, the water droplets were falling and bouncing on the curve, the white condensation was plump and fluttering, circling on the shoulders, the red lips were kissing and the milk was sweet, making complaints. Idiot Champion Knows Blood Universe. A masterpiece of 70-page national MVP, a hot-blooded family tour with all the benefits, and the ambiguous Iron 5 explodes. Shen Qingqing's arrogant legs are wrapped around her waist, her blue eyes are enchanting, the water mist is seductive, and the scent of flowers is wet and hot. She touches her lips, rubs her chest, and whispers to her ears, "Idiot Chen, there is no turning back to win, share painting skills at level 5 and melt me, kiss deeply and bond to heaven." Gu Wan's dark belly turns to vitality, red lips hook up, claws hook up the neck, perfume sweet and greasy lips nibbling, assistant screenwriter LV4 Shasha's new script concept, perverted genius, curse-breaking reality adventure, my old all the black stuff is burned, the next, the God of Creation, will be linked to massacre the universe. Shaoli howled and squirted, his legs softened, and he worshipped the fist dance. The old painter held his head and burst into tears and sprayed the paper tube trumpet and roared, "The clock legend is true. The Iron Army is reborn, and the rookie changes his destiny against the heavens." The setting sun sprinkled the venue with sparkling golden waves, and the viral barrage on the campus giant screen burned forever. Iron Army's Legend of the Loop Clock won the MVP. Gu Wan became a full-time member plus the actor's corpse, the creative paradise was reborn and toured the country. All the old members of the club rebelled and locked up, and millions of funds poured into the top-end equipment and flashed, and the momentum went straight to the comics empire in the sky. Ye Chen smiled lightly and caressed the talisman with a faint golden light, and his inner monologue was brisk, from a looming rookie to a genius leader, endless trials and errors lead to permanent talent, and the warmth of the bond of partners will forever burn in his mind. Bai Ning enthusiastically hosts the first stop of the tour, Shen Qingqing's arrogant brush is flying, Gu Wan's shady assistant assists with the script, Shaoli is a PR fan, and the veteran painter's ink flows, daily life is extraordinary, and creative adventures are endless. But as night falls, the campus bell tower whispers, and the golden light of the talisman trembles with a new ding in the mind, hidden legend unlocked, the second fragment of the God of Creation is scattered across the country, a new black hole for the bloody battle in the next season. Ye Chen's eyes flickered and he smiled and clenched his fists, there is no loop in reality, let's continue writing with the help of the Iron Army to kill the gods. The 5 members of the team were soaking in the permanent poolside of the hot spring camp, pushing each other in the waves, snapping and laughing, the mist was steaming, the fragrance of milk and flowers intertwined with the sweet and greasy black hole of inspiration, the warm current surged, the bunny ears cos headdress was tilted, the plump bouncing red lips were kissed, and in the aftertaste of the championship, a new chapter quietly opened. But the opening bell of the final was rumbling with thunder, and the venue was packed with heat and the fragrance of ink, sweat, joy, and salty tears. The black-robed movie king's abyssal eyes swept his soul. The giant screen flashed and inspired the old work. A black hole buzzed and swallowed the sky. Whispering ghosts cried and the iron chain strangled their necks, clock fragments. The god of creation came to break the curse at the critical moment. A bloody battle to kill the god. Ye Chen's inner chessboard exploded with golden light, the climax of the 11th cycle, a full blow.